Hey, we got numbers.
We've got numbers running. It's ClevelandMoto podcast number 423. Light 'em up, boys. I pre-lit mine, sorry. Bell's Oberon. One of my favorite wheat beers. Has been for a long time. And then Jesus Christ, Sleepy.
I popped on my microphone.
Did you spit on your microphone, sir?
Jesus Chrysler.
Yeah. To my immediate left is...
Dan Kromke.
To his immediate left is...
Steve Sleepy.
And to his immediate left...
Johnny Mac.
And tending bar tonight...
Tom Pennington.
Tom Pennington is in the back tending bar. So, hey guys, big news. Do you know what happened on Cinco de Mayo?
I fell asleep.
You did fall asleep. But you know what? You didn't fall asleep on the podcast. John and I were in the back holding court behind the house, as we are wont to do. And we just noticed Tom just Irish goodbye'd us at his own house.
Lights out. We're standing out there in the dark. The one dim bulb wasn't even
The
lit.
dim bulb didn't, yeah.
It was funny.
Meanwhile, Tom's 84-year-old neighbor was
noticed.
hanging with you guys.
Oh, yeah, no
totally
kidding.
there.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
They
totally
just came
fine.
back from the Moose Lodge, yeah.
I'm a Moose member.
Are you a Moose member?
In Conrad, right?
Yeah, the
no,
Moose
you
Club
are.
up there is great.
Yeah, my wife is an elk.
Yeah. So do they fight ever or something? I mean, why couldn't
They
we?
rumble it. They rumble the parking lot. They're outside of the Denny.
It's all antlers and hooves. It's carnage.
The Moose Lodges are known for like standing in highways and.
I was shocked to find out my wife was an elk.
Yeah.
So what else happened Cinco de Mayo?
Exactly. So, you guys, it turns out that on May the 5th, we had our 1 millionth download.
Oh wow.
Hey,
Hey, all right.
So, I did a little math.
What do we get?
We don't get much. We don't get anything for that.
2.5 million hours of content.
It turns out that's 237 years of material.
Wow.
Isn't that something? Yeah. That's disturbing. Yeah. That our podcast has been downloaded 237 years.
Wow.
Ouch. That is crazy. It's really offensive, but it is an interesting thing when you get that report that tells you that you've done that. It's really funny.
I'm really impressed that after that much listening and that much time out there,
yeah,
those of us that aren't our own bosses still have jobs.
I know. I mean, 200 years of downloads.
Yeah.
That's insane. But you know, and the weird thing is that number can't be tracked because people get the podcast in many different locations.
Right.
So the places that tell you how many times you've been downloaded, they really don't have access to all the right numbers anyway. But it is an ambiguous, fun milestone to just throw out there.
So if you get 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you get a gold play button. Do we get like a black dildo or something? Didn't they send anything for 1 million downloads?
We did have a customer in the shop today that came in and was talking about like, hey, I listened to your podcast, and he was a relatively normal guy. He's driving an SV650.
He walked on 2 legs.
Yeah, he was very normal.
Knuckles.
He was a really normal guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a very stormtrooper looking white on black SV650. Like, had saddlebags, everything about it was normal. There was nothing about this guy that made you lead to believe that he was a degenerate ClevelandMoto listener. But he did. And he came in and he just, he wanted to talk about bikes and look at bikes and all that fun shit. So he came in and
hitting the mic.
Oh, it is. Oh, is that what it is?
Try not to hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was really funny that he
For this.
was like, yeah, man, I love your podcast. It's great and everything else. And I was like, wow. And he goes, so how long have you been doing it? And I said, a very long time.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of look things up. So it's really a strange thing to think about that. When you put it into that perspective, it's a big, big deal. The thing that I wanted to bring up to everybody's attention is tonight to the podcast, I brought in a TW200.
You did.
Yamaha Trailway 200. So
to the titillation and joy of every member here.
What's funny is I told Tom earlier today, I was like, okay, because I rode Scoot Baca into the shop. So I rode a fur-covered Vespa GTS with all the hot rod parts on it. And it's a fast bike by any standards. It's a very fast, just being a bike, it's a fast bike. But as a scooter, it's a motherfucking fast scooter because it's well over 90 miles an hour. Yeah. And I rode that into the shop today. But I knew today the TW was coming. So, I knew the TW thing was going to be tonight for the podcast. And so when I showed up early, nobody was here. So the first person to show up at the podcast was
Dan.
Me.
Dan, what did you think of the TW200?
I just was like, what the fuck? Because I've been obsessing about this bike for about 2 weeks and searching Marketplace and was like, holy shit, why is this thing here?
Dude, all I gotta say is you, I don't know, a year ago, whatever, you bring in a ZX 1400, 200 mile an hour bike or whatever.
Right.
And we're all, yeah, that's cool. And then you roll up this TW200. And we're all like, is that the 200cc bike? Oh, look at it. It's a pristine I've only seen a clapped out one before. I've only ridden them with fucking drum brakes everywhere. And you, none of us could have been more stoked about it. The ZX14, we're like, yeah, so when are you going to sell that? This is an interesting group of guys.
And so we made everybody ride it.
Yeah.
So everybody had to ride it.
I think made is a strong word.
Yeah.
Meckle.
You made John get off.
That's true. Right. So I've had one of these before, but many, 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 many years ago. The TW200 is one of those things that we all, and I know a lot of my friends have had that virus before where you're like, I just need to get a TW200.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I close my eyes and dream of like riding at Mid-Ohio. Crunchy.
Well, the fact that Dan had said that he's been fascinated. He's been, what'd you say? Obsessed. And I mean, Dan,
once you search it, it's coming up in all your feeds. And just,
Dan swings a big enough dick. He could buy a $5,000 bike if he had to.
All day long.
All day long.
I was looking at the Aprilia 660. That's about it's about 10 grand.
It's about, it's a little more than that. It's actually a little the other side of that too. I think they're about 13. But isn't it funny that this strange little motorcycle, it punches well above its weight. Not in performance.
Not well above my weight.
No, but you know what else is funny about this little fucking bike?
Yeah.
So everybody laughs and talks about like the DR650, like, oh, new bold colors that hasn't changed in 35 years as a derogatory thing, right?
Right.
But everybody that talks about the TW is like, and it hasn't changed in 30 years because it hasn't needed to. It's just the greatest little bike.
So Tom,
Yep.
what year was the TW?
So we discovered it was 1987.
97, 2000.
The only things we found out have changed are the front disc brake, which was what year?
So in 2001, Yamaha spent some real fucking money on this bike because they'd had it for 14 years at that point.
Actually, at that point, it was probably cheaper to put a disc brake on it than
That's true.
than try to make
Drum brakes still
the
work.
drum brake.
Yeah, you're right.
It's less metal, less moving parts, and more readily
right.
available.
They were like, we got discs from this bike, that bike, calipers from this. Like,
So in 2001, they did get away with it was kickstart only, by the way.
you know what they did?
Yeah.
They just remanufactured one fork leg. That's it. Everything else came from a Ninja.
And honestly, I don't think they re-engineered one. I think they just stole it off the XT225.
They just grafted on the little thingy.
They just took it off the XT225. There is not an original part on this bike. We are going to talk about that in a second too. So in 2001, they did away with the kickstart only, and they gave it a button.
Yeah.
When these bikes were launched originally in 1987, we looked it up. They were $1,999. But they're $45.99 right now. Brand new at a dealership. They've only gone up in price $400 in the past 10 years.
Wow.
So talking about the increasing price of these bikes and how much they've gone up.
Come on, they're still using the clocks that they put on the bike in 1987. I think
They're way before 1987.
those are like
Those are ancient.
1978 or something.
They've been through like 7 sets of the molds already because they just didn't.
Every,
they just keep
every
wearing out.
Yamaha motorcycle that has ever existed has had these speedometers on them. Going back till plastic was invented.
Right.
They've never upgraded the speedometers.
To their credit, like at Mid Ohio, I'm always looking for a TW200.
Right.
You'll find the most clapped out. You end up not buying it because it's such a piece of shit.
Right.
But the speedometer still works. Of
course.
Like those are great. Like all the Suzuki things, they die in like 10 years.
Right.
They're done. You
They're
can't
done.
find a set of clocks.
Oh,
that
yeah,
work.
yeah. Forget about
Yamaha,
it.
it could be like the bike was on fire, has no front end on it, and the fucking speedometer still will work.
It's absolutely shocking to me that since 1987, the changes to this platform are super minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, super minimal. It is still getting the 16 horsepower that it advertised in 87.
Mm-hmm.
It's still getting the 11 pounds-feet of torque that it advertised in 87. And so is its partner in crime, the Suzuki Van.
Dude.
The stats are identical.
This today when we were talking about the bike before the podcast, and I was like, what do you mean they didn't move the motor? There's no way that they just have a 3-inch shaft.
Okay,
sticking
so
out.
hold on. We have to do a little bit of backstory.
Yep.
Because we all know, anybody in this room knows my BW200, my BW350.
Right.
So those are the big wheels that weren't street legal.
Right.
Because the agricultural tires on them could not possibly be NHTSA or DOT legal. They were literally ATV tires on the Big Wheel 200 and the Big Wheel 350. So the Big Wheel 200 and the Big Wheel 350 never were a street bike.
Right.
They were just a field bike, farm bike, trail bike, whatever you want to call it. And I have tried to ride those bikes on the street. I do not recommend it to anybody. Just like the Honda Fat Cat. It is not safe on the roads. But in 87, they said, we're going to make one you can put on the street. And they had to create this wheel package. Now, the weird thing is on the BW200 and the BW350, they use a jack shaft. So the counter shaft, the crank, the end of the drive out of the transmission goes out to a sprocket, a counter shaft sprocket that we all know and love. It goes through a little tiny chain to another sprocket that is further away from the motor so it can get around that ginormous fucking rear tire. So it starts the power in Ohio and delivers the power in Indiana. Right? That's kind of how it works. This one, they just took a 200cc trail bike motor. And what did they do? I think you all saw it.
They put a 3-inch shaft. But the funny part was I like my self-realization because sometimes I realize when I'm an idiot. And I was like, how would that work? Wouldn't it bend from the
It's 18 horsepower. So the interesting thing is when you think about the number 11 pounds-feet of torque, we all can generate. Each one of us sitting here, each one of us can, with our human quarter horsepower, we
John
can
can do it with his
generate
finger.
11 pounds-feet of torque. There's not a problem creating 11 pounds-feet of torque. So you don't need to have a third, outboard bearing to support something. And that output shaft is girthy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that thing is solidly, an inch and 3/4 diameter. So it's really funny that that's what they did. Other interesting tip I found that when this bike was built, they did not actually have a tire that fit it. So yes, all of the previous BW and Fat Cat, Honda and Yamaha, and the Van all existed using off-the-shelf available ATV tires, agricultural tires that went on scramblers and all kinds of weird six-wheeled vehicles.
Can I take a moment to take this back to Honda?
Please do.
Honda came up with the ATC 90 or the US 90, and that was really the first balloon tire that was put on the first ATC.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of like those.
Yeah.
That's where it all started.
It all started right there. James Bond films be damned, right?
And that was for the beaches, right? Like originally they were made for
Beaches, sand, Pismo Beach, stuff like that.
Go have fun.
Glamis.
So
And snow.
they went to the tire manufacturer, of course, Bridgestone, famous for supplying tires to the Japanese motorcycle industry. And Bridgestone came up with this particular tire. What do you think they called the tire?
I know, but I didn't know until you mentioned it.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
They called them Deathwings.
They called them Death Wings. Anybody's ever owned a KLR 650. It's a trail wing. So it just so happens that Bridgestone used the designation TW, trail wing, in that tire that they built, bespoke tire for the TW200, the Trailway 200. And so they do have an 18-inch wheel on the front. They have a 14-inch wheel on the back. The same that the Van eventually went to, going to an 18 in the front and a 14 in the back. Super fucking cool, old school guess where those tires came from kind of thing. Yeah. I also have only ever owned a clapped out piece of shit one.
It's so surprising to ride this and like it handled well. It stopped.
Well, it has 690 miles on it.
Yeah.
And the guy who owned it before me spent money.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to make it the very best Trailway that it could possibly be. The TW stands for Trailway, by the way. So Trailway, so he did the upgrade of, he fixed the sprockets. So he changed from the original gearing to a taller gearing. So the bike no longer shoots the valves out at 60 miles an hour. It can now go up to the 70 miles an hour that Yamaha advertises.
Right.
I haven't done a top speed run on it yet. I had it up to about 65 and it felt fine, which I can't say the same for every other Trailway or TW I've ever ridden. They normally don't like that.
No, every time I want one, I ride one of these clapped out ones somewhere and I'm like, I don't want this bike. Now I rode yours and I'm like, I want this bike.
A lot of my friends have said that they spent 10 years looking for the perfect TW200 and they kept it for 10 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Don't meet your heroes kind of thing.
Yeah.
He put a little bit of a handlebar riser on there. It's about 2 inches of handlebar risers, which is nice for bigger sized adults.
You guys talk about all the wonderful things, and then I'll talk.
Exactly. Right on, baby. And he did, so he did that. He did a proper valve adjustment. He replaced the factory air filter with an aftermarket air filter. He replaced the main jet with a better main jet for it. So it starts and runs a lot better than they do normally. And then he put some quick disconnects under the seat, which I thought was pretty badass, because it used to be to get to the toolkit on this, you needed a toolkit to get to the toolkit.
Right.
Like a Triumph, right? But instead, they put these weird bicycle seat post
Cam lockers.
Cam lockers, yeah. So they put those underneath so you could just undo those and get the seat off. So that's kind of cool. I thought that was neat. A little attention to detail. And still kind of discovering little things here and there. And he brought the whole box of parts that he took off of it to go along with it. The skid plate that's on it now is beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice.
The skid plate that's on it could actually protect the motor.
Does that come with the luggage rack or is that an
No, that's an added-on. So the way you see it in the pictures there, that's the way they come out of the box from the factory. And so he did he got the luggage rack on there and a couple other fun little items. I've got a few other little things I'm going to do to it as well.
But you know, it is really tasteful. Like you see some modifications sometimes and they're kind of gaudy or something like that, but he did a really tasteful job.
I think you got the right color scheme.
I do.
The black and tan.
The black and tan
like
is right up my alley. The desert tan, that they only did that for 2 years and then they just all became graphite gray. So I'm happy that I got a color that I really like. I like the tan fenders. I like the tan decals on the tank. I really enjoy it. So I like it. And so I rode it around and then you guys all rode it around. And now what do you think? I mean,
I gleefully rode it. I love that thing. It handled way better. Like I said, I've ridden clapped out ones that it felt like the front wheel was coming off. The forks were flopping around. That felt like a motorcycle. It's weird. I didn't even notice the fat tires when you're on the road. It just felt like a bike.
Yeah.
It was cool. I like it. I mean, a slow bike, but
I would imagine they're inflated to the proper inflation, and that probably helps quite a bit.
Before I left,
18 pounds.
I pumped them up right to the right pressure. So they're right where they should be for using it on the street.
Under pressure.
They are so. But you know what? It is. It's got a carburetor. It's got a little button choke on it. It's got a fuel control valve. It's so rudimentary because it is that. How many years ago was that?
Yeah,
1987.
It's like 33 years ago.
Fuck that, man. That is a long time ago. That's 36 years ago.
36?
Isn't it?
Wait.
87?
Oh, yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
But why mess with perfection?
So, John?
So I got on it. First thing I noticed, couldn't start it.
No, you couldn't start it.
Would not start.
Would not start.
Then I turned the kill switch into the run position. I hit the starter button for 0.3 seconds and still did not start.
No, the fuel injection never started up.
I couldn't hear the fuel pump ramping or anything. I thought it was a problem.
Right.
Then I was advised that it is a carburetor.
Carbureted bike. Yeah, that's it.
Then I was told I must use the choke. So I looked for the pull handle up on the handlebars or the thing and like, where's the choke? I looked for the lever on the side of the carb. There wasn't. Oh no, there's a button, a pull out button.
Pull out.
So I don't know. That's not. But in my world, that's an altitude compensator. So I don't know why. I don't know why we have to use an altitude compensator at Cleveland. So I pulls out the altitude compensator and Gave it another poke, and it sort of fired up. I mean, this is a warmed up bike, but no, it fired up and it ran pretty good. And I got my safety specs on. Took her for a little toodaloo.
You did?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's very anemic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not powerful.
It's not even. I mean, I'm sure you could do a wheelie if you just.
I did one wheelie in the parking lot, and I was like, wow, that was a lot of work.
It would be a lot of dropping the clutch. It would wind it up and.
I could not. So I tried doing my first thing is always just try to do a bounce wheelie. Just try to do a very basic bounce wheelie.
I mean, I could normally a lot of bikes. I could just sitting there. I could probably pull the front end.
Of course.
Nope.
I did the world's most pathetic bounce wheelie in the parking lot, and then I resorted to clutching it up, and I clutched it up. It clutched up just fine, but But yeah, there's not. I mean,
you had to have it like 9,000 RPMs.
I had them at all the RPMs.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
So ripped her down the street. Ripping is not what it did.
No.
You just sort of change the gears, and it kind of goes a little faster as you change the gears. I didn't really didn't see much point in trying to hit the rev limiter.
No.
Not sure it has one, but not sure it needs one. I don't think it can hit the rev limiter unless you grab the clutch.
It doesn't. I tried like hell to find out if it had an electronic rev limiter, and it doesn't get there. It just doesn't go there. It's undercarbed. So
yeah, I would.
Did they have rev limiters in 1987?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. The Pistons left.
I always like to do this on a lot of bikes. I like to put. I know that you said they put a larger main jet in.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I would definitely consider at least one or two sizes up on the pilot jet.
Oh, I think so.
That gives you that low. You'll get a little more. You'll get a little bit of throttle response and a little more torque. That little.
I agree.
That said, it didn't stall or anything like that. It idles and runs and was pretty good. I mean, does only have 600 miles on it. So
It has 600 miles on it.
and you did already do a valve adjustment.
So
on
the
it too.
previous owner, he's a special kind of guy. So the previous owner did good stuff. So he's a good owner. Yeah, good owner.
Meticulous.
Good owner. Yeah, really good owner. As you can see by looking at the bikes. So
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the catalog.
it does look like
My
a
Vespa
catalog.
only has 1,500 miles.
See, there you go. Perfect.
I agree.
We're not trading, Dan.
I agree that.
Oh,
I agree with the handling. I think you wouldn't really even know it had fat tires.
Yeah.
It was very nimble. I was able to, do a little, low speed stuff was real fun with
Totally
it.
fine.
No problem. You probably won't dab if you're trying to trials it a little
right.
bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's the perfect bike for like if you're a regular swap shop attendee or a Mid Ohio attendee or something or even a drag. I mean, how could you go wrong with that in an event?
I agree.
Big comfortable seat, just tooting around on that.
It's
thing.
not going to hurt you.
No, and I think too, you could probably put it in second for all day.
Yeah.
You never have to leave second gear. And just
Okay, listeners, I'm looking for a 25-year-old.
and you bring up an excellent point because all you'd be giving up would be what? You'd be giving up, well, I don't know if the electric start.
Oh,
Now that I don't want to give up. I like pressing a button
so what
to make a
Dan
bike
wants?
start.
What Dan wants is just a frame with a blown motor, and then you buy the new one.
Dan just needs the 10th digit in the VIN on, let's be honest.
So we did talk about a half a dozen different motors we'd like to put in it.
We did talk about it.
but not
a
this
dozen
one.
different
But
motors.
the jack shaft kind of, or not the non-jack shaft kind of fucks it up because then what do? You have to move the motor to the left.
No, you don't. You just got to weld shit to the jack shaft.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Get a wider motor.
I wonder if
Get a
that-
wider motor. I'm sure a DRZ 400 is wider than a TW 200
That's
motor.
true, too.
It might take up
But I
most
wonder,
of the slack.
does that shaft bolt onto something, or is
It's the shaft.
It's just a big.
It's the
okay.
shaft. Yeah. It's just the way that is. That's a different part number.
We would have to disassemble the motor, machine a shaft, and put a shaft in it. I mean, and if it's a bigger diameter, then you would not be able to do that with the other motor. I just wish it was.
Could I recommend
they have made it
cutting and welding?
I'd make some sort of adapter. Make an adapter.
I've had no problem with as much meat as there. I've had no problem cutting and welding to that and getting something that'll spin up to 80 miles an hour without ripping itself to guts.
You can take the original bike, okay,
Yeah.
with the original sprocket that's
Yeah,
on there,
right.
and then put a piece of tubing welded to that sprocket with another sprocket.
Oh, I've done that.
And you'd just be making an
absolutely.
adapter,
Yeah.
But you'd have to be pretty precise,
Oh, it's less precise than you think.
It wouldn't have to be precise. If that sprocket went
Because
like
the
this,
wheel,
it wouldn't even really matter. It's a
Exactly.
chain. There's
exactly.
not a,
The
it's
chain
not a hard,
takes up the slab. Yeah.
I mean, you'd like it to be, and we would try to be, but it wouldn't have to.
but you could be off by 1/8 of an inch and you'd never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the inertia. It doesn't have the mass. It's not like if you were 3 ounces off on the tire, you'd know. But if you're an eighth of an inch off on the sprocket, you're not going to know until like 120 miles an hour. And this thing can't go 120 miles an hour. Right. So yeah, you're fine. I mean, you can be pretty sloppy on that stuff.
I mean,
I watch Junkyard Wars.
A sprocket always has half a chain on one side
Exactly.
of it. So it's never balanced or anything. It's just
And if you did happen to eat a sprocket or two, whatever. How many miles are you really going to put on this thing? But it is a silly motorcycle. It's a silly, fun motorcycle. I'm glad we got it now. I'm glad we're going to have it for Mid-Ohio because I'm not selling the motherfucker, Dan.
I'll keep the Vespa for 10 months.
Oh, just sell your Vespa. We can ride this thing at Mid-Ohio like the town pump. Yeah. I don't see any reason not to do it. What kills me about this particular bike, though, and that weird fetish around it, because talk about for a very short while, what other motorcycles have been essentially unchanged since 87 that you could buy right now at a dealership?
You know, though, I'm getting excited now. I was going to push this off.
Yeah.
So next week, I'm doing my motor mounts for my van.
Yeah.
I wonder if my 140cc van is going to be able to beat this at Mid-Ohio.
Ooh, very interesting. Very interesting. That's the size of the dog in the fight, not the fight in the dog, or vice versa. That's an interesting one. I would
say like the pit bike motors that they're creating now are way more fucking powerful than the motors.
Oh,
that
hell yeah. This motor is not powerful.
No.
Like,
I don't know if you're going to be able to ride in first gear without doing wheelies on the 140cc bike.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll take those pictures when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be...
I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, you will.
I totally agree. The Suzuki DRZ came out in 2001. So that's had a good long run. Yeah. The DRZ's been around for 22 years. Yeah. That's a good long run. The Kawasaki KLX 250, right? Mm-hmm. That's been around a long time, right? When did that thing come out? I don't know.
But they're fuel injected now, right?
Well, okay, sure. No,
I mean,
they're
even
not.
the KLR
Really?
650 is fuel injected.
Right.
Yeah, but
It's not.
Yeah.
the 650 is now.
When you think about like, what is the longest running in production to this day, continuously produced same motorcycle? Like
U.S. or sold in the U.S.
in our market.
US,
yeah, because we're not going to try it right.
In Pakistan, they're still selling whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This one's got to be close.
that's going to go back to the Honda Cub.
Or the Harley Davidson Sportster. They didn't change that.
And the Cub changed.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
to be fair, the Sportster okay, it kind of has.
What's that? No, it's changed a fuck lot. It's changed a lot. It has changed with a
So what is
really,
the
really
longest running with that?
Well, what about the DR 650?
That might be close.
That's close.
That's been around, but I don't know if that came in 1987.
So let's just throw it up. Let's find out who's been around the longest according to motorcycle experts out there in the world.
And the Honda XL 650R.
Oh, yeah.
XR 650L is.
That's true. That's true.
New ones look just like a 1984. Like there's not even changed this paint scheme on them.
They have not changed.
No, they haven't changed at all. So let's talk about who's got staying power. So, okay, in other countries, obviously, the CG 125. The CG 125 ran from the Honda CG 125, a bike that we didn't need to know about because it left America as a CB 125 and became other things. But it left America in the 80s, early 80s. But 76 to 2008. Okay, very good. The Honda C50, 1958 to 2001. Holy shit. The Kawasaki Z or Z750, that thing was around from 79 to 2004.
What?
Yeah, the Zephyr.
That's not a U.S. one, right?
No, it's definitely not. It is absolutely not. The venerable SR500 hit the market in 1978. Now, I will say the SR400 was being sold up until just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Right? The Van took a vacation away from America and did come back, and now it's no longer available in Suzuki's catalog, but been around a long time. The a bike that nobody ever celebrated here was the ZZR 600, which was really just a slightly modernized version of the GPZ. That has been around a long
Ninja
time.
250 had a good run, but now it's a 300.
Yes.
Now going to be a 400.
Right. Yeah. And that is a tough thing. So, when you think about like the longest running motorcycle models in the American market, our podcast listeners need to chime in and fucking yell at us about this, because I'm still thinking KLR, KLX, DR, right? When was
They all changed, and you can still buy a T-Dub. Just like it was.
I mean, that's the thing.
So it's going to be between the DR 650
Yeah.
I think the Honda. I think you were right about
the
the
Honda.
650.
Yeah.
That thing looks the same now as it did. It has the same black stupid muffler sticking.
Look up, when did they start making the XR 650L?
Oh, that's a good one,
Yeah,
because that,
yeah, that's
all
a
right.
good
Okay.
question.
All right. Yeah. Honda XR. Yeah. That's a very good one.
I think it just celebrated 30 years
I think it's more
This
than
year.
that, dude.
or 40 years.
It is a long fucking time. It was released in 92.
Okay, so the T-Dub's got it beat.
It does.
Really?
Yeah, it says the XR650L was released in 1992 as a 1993 model. It combines the RFVC engine with the XR600 chassis.
Oh, so there was a 600.
It was a 600 for a long
So
time.
let's just look up the XR600. But it's not. I mean, the 600.
That's a change.
That's a
the
change. That's a pretty big change, right? Because the TW has not gone from a TW 125 to a TW 200 like the SR 500 went to an SR 400.
Right.
I mean, that's a fairly decent change, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So 1985 was the XR 600's first year in out, but that is still a really long time. I don't know.
But the T-Dub, man, that thing hasn't. What about the DR? So the DR 650 only got a car, or is it? Or no, it's still carbureted, right?
Oh yeah, the DR 650 is still.
Still carbureted.
All right. So when did the DR 650 come out?
Let's tell you, yeah, because I think we might be onto something there. Yeah, because they did betray us, and they did fix everything that was wrong.
With the KLR.
Right. Yeah. So the DR 650,
And you have to pay a whole $400 more for 'em.
1990.
Ooh, close.
So it did start as the DR 600, and it became the DR 650 in 1990. So the T-Dubs just barely edges it out.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's really something, because that's a long time.
Brain. I'm getting dizzy trying to think of what other bikes are like that.
That's about it. There can't be much more than that.
Isn't that fucking crazy though, to think about that longevity, to think about anything that would be around for
We're missing
that
something.
much
There's a
time,
bike out
and still be a bike you can go buy at your dealership for $45.99 in today's market, which $45.99 is not a lot of money in a two-wheeled brand new motorcycle.
Okay, how about here's a new question. This will be good. And with Phil, only the one that's allowed to look it up. Everybody else has to use their heads.
Okay.
What is the longest running model? So they can have changes, like the Ford Mustang.
Oh, I get
Mach
it now.
2, Mach
All
3,
right.
Mach 4.
Yeah, all right.
So what brand thought that model was so important that we've had 5 versions of it? Because we know the Honda Goldwing started out as a GL 1000, went to the 1200. So it has about 7.
It's been a Goldwing since 76.
Well, a lot of people want to say
75.
that Royal Enfield is one of the oldest motorcycle companies, and the
No, the Bullet goes back to the 50s. I mean, honestly, yeah, I think,
Yeah, so I wonder what else. So the Bullet. Sportster. That's,
1959, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Or 57.
Because it's been consistent. They've used that name forever.
Yep. Well, didn't they just they killed it this last year, right?
For a minute.
For a minute.
Oh, they brought
Yeah, I think they're bringing it back out again, yeah. Oh, man, that is an excellent 1957 for the Sportster.
Okay.
And I mean, that earns it, because
Yeah. What else?
the Sportster has only been a Sportster, right? Yeah, it's been fucking weird. Like, it left its original design idea.
But it's only hasn't even really. I mean, the original ones were 1,000. I mean, like a
750s.
750s, and it grew to a 12.
1,000 cc.
Yeah, 1,000 and 1,200.
And 83.
Man. The Bullet started in 1932.
Oh wow.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Hey Tom,
right?
did you know for $1,200 we can take that 883 and slap a fucking And then you'll be a real biker.
You can turn your 883 Hugger into a 1200 with a Screaming Eagle kit for twice the value of the bike.
That blue bike you have that's a 1200 though. It's
It
not,
is.
It's not an
It's a
883.
1200. Yeah. So I've got one 883.
Screaming deal. Anybody out there in podcast land?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful bike.
You're asking like how much? I don't want to quote you.
$4,500 for it.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's like
How many miles
$4,500.
on it? Like
None.
None.
Like virtually none. Like
Yeah.
Like so few miles on it that it's almost questionable whether or not the bike actually did that. But it's legit. It's
Dan's got a scooter he'd be willing to trade.
somebody looking for a. If you're looking for a Sportster, get on down and talk to Uncle Phil.
Yeah, well, I've got, it's funny because I've got the two different ways you can buy a Sportster. But they're backwards. So I have an 883C that is completely chromed up and loaded up with all the fancy shit, the forward pegs, like everything that is like, I'm going to be like the cool Harley guy, right? And that's an 883. And it's a C, so it's got very little suspension travel in the back. Like it's not great to ride. And then the 1200 though is just a straight ahead 1200 Sportster. There's no C about it, and so it's like the pegs are kind of where the pegs are supposed to be. The handlebars are where the handlebars are supposed to be. It's got a carburetor. Like
That's what I would want.
It's actually a really nice bike to ride, and it does it has a certain amount of funk to it. Like it's got a certain amount of when you crack it, and you're like, oh yeah, baby. It's got a little anger in there somewhere. So if you're going to have a Sportster, and I've had too many of them, the 1200cc is a really, really nice way to have a Sportster. And, every 883 has a 1200 hiding just one cylinder kit away from it. So they're not really hard to, it's not hard to create that.
It's like when you get the 883, you're Harley curious.
You're really curious.
And then when you're committed, you go ahead and make that investment into the 1200.
So true. It is really, and that is absolutely true. It's
So forward to getting my intruder.
I'm gonna get the biggest fucking single I can get.
No negative. It's an intruder 800 twin.
Oh, the 800 twin. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Right. Oh, you mean a Volusia?
Sure.
You know what's crazy about all those Suzuki?
I prefer it being an intruder. It makes me giggle.
Anal
Have you looked
intruder.
at the prices of dude, you can buy a Suzuki Cruiser with 300 miles on it for like $17.
Oh yeah.
They give this the Boulevards and the C50s and stuff. Like at some point, I think in the winter they would pay you to pick one up and bring it home.
Oh, mine's coming free, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
My brother's giving me a motorcycle and a house. That's interesting.
Oh, is that what's happening?
A house? You're gonna be
a mobile home on some property.
Oh, there you go.
He's more excited about the motorcycle.
Yes, I am.
Suzuki did the M1800. So, the Suzuki M1800 was one of those, it was one of those bikes that was just like, the fact that they didn't advertise it as an 1800, they switched over to the American 109 system because they wanted to make sure that even Harley Davidson riders understood that the Suzuki's motor was bigger.
Yeah.
So they're like, so you got an 88 cubic inch, it's a 109.
Yeah.
You got a 103 cubic inch, it's a 109. So a Japanese company took a step away from metric equations and literally said it's an M109 in America. In the rest of the country, they did call it, or rest of the planet. In Europe and stuff, it was called an M1800 Intruder.
Right.
So that bike was only called an M109 in places that spoke cubic inches.
And it's a pretty mean bike.
Did you say pubic inches?
I did. There's
How many Freedom Eagles per ounce?
Yes.
Dude, that bike is fun though. I've ridden one just for a second. This dude we traded this a couple years ago. It surprised me how fucking fast that bike is.
They're very fast.
Yeah.
Was it M109?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very torquey bike.
Yeah.
Power cruiser.
It is. It really is. Well, the funny thing about it is there's never been as much fake chrome put on a single motorcycle.
That bike literally is nothing but plastic
It's
chrome.
so crazy.
It's like plastic chrome
Yeah.
and some paint on that chrome.
Yeah, because when I jumped on the bike the first time and rode it, I was like, it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And then I realized the mirrors were plastic.
Yep.
I was like, wait a second, plastic mirrors? And then I was like, okay, plastic mirrors. I was like, okay, speedo nacelle, plastic. The entire thing that looks like that giant Hydroglide front end is all plastic. And like underneath it are just traditional, regular forks. Yeah. It was a really weird bike to ride just because it's so bonkers.
You nailed something that I didn't think
but
about.
It's only 118 pounds-feet of torque, which I wanted to bring that up. Because it's not that much torque.
It's fast feels, though.
I get it. But its top speed is only 120 miles an hour. Yeah. It's 123 horsepower. And it's 118 torques.
The entire point is the chrome and that big rear tire.
It is that giant fucking cement roller on the back of that vehicle.
But dude, you made a good point. Like I remember it, and until you said it, I didn't think of it. But I remember getting on it thinking like, oh, this is going to be a fucking heavy motherfucker.
No, it's not heavy.
It wasn't at all.
It's not
You're
heavy.
absolutely right. It's all fucking plastic.
Guy I had worked with had one, and he had like straight pipes on it. It was the loudest thing.
Oh yeah.
When he would start that up, it's like blah blah blah. Everybody in the whole of downtown Cleveland heard him riding around on it. And he's a huge black dude, and just and he had the chrome helmet and everything, and he looked the part. I mean, it was
the right bike for him.
It was like yes, and that's the one I was riding with, and we were
that was the when you all
we were out wilding, and it was a hot pursuit on the 103 mile an hour on the shoreway kind of.
Were
thing.
you a cop during this?
Statute of limitations is long gone, John.
Yes.
And that is a decent idea to think about the statute of limitations before you commit to that shit. It's not a bad idea to think about the statute of limitations before making a declarative statement that may, in fact, impact future career decisions. Yeah. It's
I could give a shit about my future career.
I was gonna say he's hanging out in a room with us. I think that pretty much shoots the
well,
where life takes me from now on is
I just think about Halloween costumes I had not that long ago, and I'm like, nope, can't do that again.
Yeah, right.
And
I didn't start with the podcast till after I retired, so I didn't have to
yeah,
worry
you're
about
safe. You're fine. Yeah, you have nothing to worry about there. The one of my favorite dumb motorcycles, and I still cannot get over how bad this motorcycle was, but yet there are people that fucking go crazy loving it. One of these bikes that just wins the I'm just stupid category is the Kawasaki Vulcan 2000. The Kawasaki Vulcan 2000.
I hate to squirrel out on you right now, but have you ever wanted to just get fired? I don't, and it's not because I hate my job, love my job. I just need to be unemployed for a while to get caught up on all the shit that I have to do. I am so busy. I need to be unemployed, collecting unemployment, so I can just get my life to fucking together, man. I have
a lot of projects.
Yeah.
I have a whole warehouse full of projects. I keep buying projects, but I'm too employed to do them.
I have no time.
I at this point, you're just warehousing. It's
I'm
fine.
just warehousing.
It's just you're like I said, you're holding them until something happens.
If I did 5 projects a year, I would have to live to be 137. That's just the way the math works
I think
out.
of Bill Murar and how he had a collection of hundreds of all states.
Yeah,
and he was going to, when he retired, he was going to work on them. And as soon as he retired, he said, fuck this. And he sold them 12 for $10. Come get them. He wholesaled off his I'm going to Florida. I'm not working on this shit.
I feel like one of our dear friends of the shop, Joe Casola, comes into the shop yesterday. And Joe's one of my besties from way, way back. Nobody can build a motorcycle engine like Joe Casola can. He's one of my favorites. But even he, when he was selling me 3 garbage vintage Vespas, garbage, trash. And I was giving him real money for them. I was buying his trash. Not one of these bikes runs, and only 2 of them have motors.
Perfect.
One of them has an agricultural wheel on the back of it, welded to a piece of steel, so you can roll it around.
Roll it, rally bike.
Garbage.
Is that like a Pirate Imports Sprint or something?
No, they're all...
That bike's that speedometer on that green one's got miles on it.
It's because it's a GL. It's a really, really old 1963 GL. So it is what it is. It just needs a motor. I happen to have a motor for it. So anyway, not getting too deep into this.
Yeah, well.
The point was, many years ago, I was like, I'm going to stop buying dumb projects. And my buddies who are selling dumb projects are like, Phil's still buying dumb projects. So they're turning their scrap metal into money. And I keep giving them money.
Mm-hmm. You can get scrap or you can take it to Phil and he'll give you.
I literally had a deal written where I was going to give currency and I was going to buy 3 bikes. And then in the 11th hour of the deal changed and I gave away a running 1959 Triumph Tiger Cub.
Oh, yeah.
I threw that in on the deal for not very much money. A running bike, a bike that ran and had a title. And you could ride.
handsome.
It was very handsome.
Yeah.
And it was very correct and original and very low miles. But the point being, I knew I had ridden that Triumph Cub, that Tiger Cub once. And it was awful. It was one of the worst motorcycle
I still say
experiences.
you made out hard on that deal.
You know,
Just the fact that it left your life,
you know, I'm right here with that. Is the best day you can sell something is when it runs and you hate it. You know, that's the thing. Is it ran and it's gone.
That Triumph Tiger Cub was just waiting to pick the perfect moment to make me walk home from somewhere far from my house. That's all that bike was doing.
Oh yeah,
That bike was just waiting to fuck me over.
Go ahead.
It looked amazing. I'm
Sure
not going
did.
to lie. It looked great in the
looked
middle of the
great.
showroom. You know where it looked even better? In the back of that truck going away.
It always reminded me of a putt-putt motor.
Yeah.
The putt, you spin the flywheel and it goes putt-putt.
Oh, yeah.
Putt-putt.
Yeah, they're great, horrible bikes.
It's such a sad bike.
And, you know, I'm not going to lie. The 3 bikes you got are kind of horrible, but, you know, they're at the same rate. They take up more space.
They take up more space. I just don't have space. If my warehouse caught on fire, I'd have mixed emotions.
Yeah.
It would take me a minute. It would take me a minute to really, really assess the situation and think about how bad is this?
Well, I know at least 5 of my bikes are there that I haven't.
And I know
seen
which
since
5 bikes
Mardi
are in
Gras.
there, and that wouldn't hurt you that
And
bad
I'm
either.
like, you know, I don't miss them.
I think we would both recover from that quite well.
I kind of miss having the coaster around, but every time I rode it, I remembered exactly how long I had till the Christmas tree gear was going to go out.
It's not a good bike to keep around. Yeah. But it was I thought it was very, very funny that the 3 bikes that showed up, that was a bad move. I shouldn't have done it.
No, that rally's okay.
Shouldn't have done it.
Is that a 180 or 200?
It's a 180. I like Rally 180s.
Yeah, no, that's worth
They're
it.
sexy. But it is like when John says that there's not enough time, and there isn't enough time. There's just not. There's no time to do the things that we want to do because we're doing the things we have to do to earn money.
Well, the whole concept is really hitting me hard right now. I spend the majority of my best time making other people's dreams come true and working for somebody else. And,
Right.
I want to just be spend a lot of time making my dream come true.
Yeah.
You know, I figured this out the other day. And even Becky was a little bit like, what? But I figured I'm usually there about 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Usually there about 8 hours a day as best I can.
Yeah.
And I have yet to get that Stella running that we're going to need running here in about 2 months. And, all the other little things I keep saying, I'd like to do that because there's so much.
It's amazing
going
what I can
on.
do when I just have a whole day to myself.
Right.
Oh, dude,
right.
it's the best.
And I can just do anything. I can get this done and I can get that done.
Maybe
Imagine if I had
don't go to work.
If I had an extended period of unemployment.
Dude, that's what everybody says. Like, what do you want to do if you can retire? I'm like, I want a tanker. I just want to do all the
But you got to wait till you're 80 years old to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the problem.
that's the problem.
Oh, 80. Fuck. That's if I fucking win the lottery.
That is the one good thing is I literally have to buy nothing now because you literally just throw everything at me that I would ever possibly want.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Here, fix this. Okay.
Yeah. Tom still hasn't seen how we do in the winter. So Tom hasn't experienced that whole winter because Tom hasn't had a winter in a long time.
You're going to get to build a lot of projects.
You know what? You know what? I know somebody that has a lot of projects.
Winter is a whole different story. Right now we are, that whole make hay while the sun shines thing that people talk about. In our business and what we do right now, April and May are gangbusters.
I was right
Oh, yeah.
there last year with you guys, man.
April and May are gangbusters.
I used to
and then
laugh.
it's a little chiller. It just backs off a little bit.
I think this is going to be a different winter though for you, especially with Tom.
Yeah.
And I know, Tom, you're a fantastic mechanic. And I mean, we had a winter where things were tight,
Yes, we did.
and I was busy.
Yes.
we made good money.
We made
all
money
winter long.
all winter long,
And
because I can find
all the people who
Right.
you were like, no, well, they can all come back in the winter time.
That's right.
And you can be busy for
Yeah.
as long as
I
you
can
want.
make. I can. Turns out after 22 something years of doing this, turns out I can make money show up.
Yep.
You know, we can do that. We can work as hard as we want to work.
I just remembered how crazy it was when like you'd have things scheduled, and like so you're already like the day was already insane.
Yeah, we had a day booked out.
day
No, Tom's
booked
been
out.
experiencing
Oh,
that.
yeah. But then like in the middle of it, you're like, oh my god, there's a lot going on, and then
Right.
UPS shows up with 10 bikes.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
like, fuck, like that was crazy.
What was
Look,
it again? 4 o'clock and 15 bikes.
We had
show up?
19 bikes show up at 4 p.m.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
does Phil like to wheel like a maxi scooter back there and say, hey, this guy wants a front, rear tire, maybe brakes, first service. He's going to go get a cup of coffee and he'll be back to pick it up.
We've had a.
He's going
couple
over
of
to
those. We had a
Blackbird.
couple of
He's going to go
those.
sit over at Dunkin' Donuts.
He,
Wait,
he was going to go sit at Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we've had a couple.
We had
That's
a couple
fun.
of those. And then the one guy that came in, and he was like, "Yeah, you made an appointment."
Yep.
And brought his bike by to get some stuff done, and I, of course, had it done. And it was sit and wait.
Yep.
Gee, hope I don't fuck something up.
And
'cause
then
this
they,
guy's riding home on this
and then they call him. Well, it was easy. It was fairly easy, fairly quick stuff.
yeah.
And so they call him up, and he's like, "Okay, let me get an Uber." And we're all like, "What?"
Oh, don't go anywhere.
That was exactly it. Like,
yeah.
Tom was basically done. So it was like, and the guy just like the guy who was like, while you wait service, just
yeah.
fucking fucked off. Like, well, what was the point of doing a while you wait service,
Right,
man? But this guy, I told the guy to drop his bike off at 10, put the keys in the mailbox.
Oh, yeah.
He was there at 9:45. Wanted to have a conversation.
Yeah.
He's a talker.
Fuck that. And then and then he did eventually fuck off. And we open at 11, right? And I wheel, because you got to, if you're doing valve adjustments, bike got to be cold. If you're doing service, bike's got to be cold. There's rules. So he fucks off and he disappears. I have no idea where he went. But then he rematerialized at the worst possible time when I get like 7 people in my shop that all need attention. And it's like, wow, motherfucker. And this is with the door locked on appointment only basis. It is a strange job. It's a strange job on the very best of days. But it's also a strange job when people are like, oh, I remember when I told you I was going to bring this bike in November? I do. I wrote the service order. I ordered parts for you. I was ready for you. Mm-hmm. Well, it's May now. And can I have it done by tomorrow? Yeah. And you're like, no, no, you can't. But I can't tell you the words I want to tell you because I have $600 worth of parts I ordered for you. Mm-hmm. So the things I think you need to hear, you're not allowed to hear because then I would be eating those $600 worth of parts.
If it feels good, don't say it.
Don't say it.
This is, of course, why you have 2 doors and 2 people between me and customers.
Right. Yeah. There's an virtually impenetrable barrier. You cannot get to Tom. Interesting things we learned.
I worked at the shop. I don't think I ever spoke with a customer ever. No. I had a hard, I don't talk to customers.
Right. That's the best attitude to have. What is a very funny thing is this year we started a new program where we're giving people a substantial discount if they pay in cash. We're trying to leave some of the credit card problems behind because credit card processing is 4% now.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
4%.
That's insane.
So for me to run your card, so if your card gives you no benefits, if your card is a fucked up card and you don't get anything for using it, it's 2.9% for me to run it. If your card gives you like a basket of flowers once a year or any sort of promo whatsoever,
Yeah.
like a discount on another card, right? It's costing me 4% to run it. Wow. So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of
That's
money.
a lot of fucking money. And it turns out at the end of 1 year, it's what we could pay for 2 employees to be there.
Sure.
So I'm trying to have a thing where if you pay cash, I'll give you a substantial discount. I don't have to swipe your card, saving money. Plus it's goodwill that everyone likes a break.
Right.
So I tell people, hey, look, I got your services done. It's $312. If you pay me cash though, it's going to be $280.
Right.
So go find some scratch.
Yeah. Go get a cash advance on your card, but I don't want to fucking deal with
That's
it.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. How do you define cash?
Handy little paper dollar bill things.
Paper doggets.
Small portraits of dead presidents.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Or coinage. That's cash. If you have
Come on,
enough.
gold nuggets.
You know what a debit card is? Fuck you.
Oh, because they take percentages from that?
They do. Because it's got a Visa logo on the back.
Yep.
Cocksuckers, man.
Yep.
It's got a MasterCard logo on the back.
It still goes to the network.
Please, we don't say cocksucker. We say sword swallower.
Here's another thing. So I brought you a check. That's not cash.
Right.
Look, man, if somebody tells you cash, I'm going to tell you how to live a better life. If I can't pay a stripper with it, it's not cash.
Show up with your shekels, man.
Somebody comes in with a big bag of Coke. Game on.
I'm just going to make it as very plain as I can make it. A check is not cash. A debit card is not cash. A check that came from your credit card company that you're going to like these bonus checks that people get. That's not cash. Cash is fucking
somebody
cash.
tried to use one of those?
All the time.
Oh, my God.
All the time. And so we have this thing where I tell people on the telephone, I'm like, yeah, bring cash.
Right.
And these guys will show up with a check or they'll show up with a debit card or they'll show up with a bank check or whatever. And they're like, well, it's the same as cash, right? I'm like, no, who said that? Yeah. Like, who the fuck told you your debit card was the same as cash? Because it's not.
Right.
It's absolutely not. Oh, well, this is my check I got in the envelope the other day, a credit advance check. Just use it like no, it's not cash. If the stripper won't take it, it's not cash.
So let me ask you something, and this is my naivete about this, but couldn't you just say like, cash, whatever, this and that? If you're paying with the card, there's a 4% surcharge.
I can, but motherfuckers hate that. Not motherfuckers, my lovely customers.
It is
Because people don't like surcharges.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody likes surcharge.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a
That's the
surcharge.
fucked up thing though. Is like, why are you taking the hit?
I went
for
to
their
a drive-through
purchase?
restaurant the other day.
Yeah.
A drive-through restaurant, like a place that I ordered food and picked my food up. It was
It's
a goddamn
the cost of doing business.
drive-through. Yeah. So I went to a drive-through restaurant. And as I went through my drive-through restaurant, I picked up my food. The guy goes out, he goes, I gave my card. And he goes, gives me the thing back with a clipboard and a pencil, a pen. And he goes, would you like to leave a tip?
Oh yeah, thing. That's
And I was like, this is a drive-through.
yeah,
This is the definition of no service.
right.
Yep.
You can't keep my beverage glass filled. You can't keep restocking my butter or salt
You've done nothing.
because there isn't that.
Right.
You took my food and you put it in a box and you pushed it out a window. It's hard for me to justify giving you a gratuity on top of that. And I was like a little bit shocked because tipping in America has gotten out of goddamn control.
Yes, because basically you asked for a product and got it.
Yeah.
There was no service involved. The
No.
act of making the product is not your concern.
No, if it would take me less effort to press buttons on a vending machine.
Right.
And it would be like if I bought I bought a thing in a vending machine and it came out and then they said, oh, by the way, would you like a 10, 15 or 25% gratuity on this vending machine experience?
What's that again? FIBO
the
in Holland,
fuck?
Amsterdam. FIBO.
What's that?
The one where they it's the automat.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We haven't had automats since
Yeah.
what, the 30s here, 40s?
Yeah, 50s for sure. Yeah.
But I think it's FIBO in Amsterdam where it literally is just this automat where there's one person in the back. They keep feeding they put
That's
the thing in
fine.
box.
Because sometimes all I want is the food.
Yeah.
That's all I want is food. When I go to places that give me customers, anybody who's ever waited on me at a bar knows I'm the guy you want to wait on at the bar.
Yeah.
You've traveled with me. We know how I roll.
Yeah.
When I'm given service, you're gonna get tipped. It's gonna be silly the way you get tipped. But if you hand me a pizza through a window, don't ask me. Another thing too is asking me for a tip. I'm like, oh, now it's super duper fuck you. And I do. And during the time of COVID, I was tipping the people at Taco Bell. I tipped the guy at Wendy's $20 because they were coming to work an 8 or 10 hour shift when the whole rest of the planet wasn't working. There were two people working, ClevelandMoto and Wendy's. Right? I assure you, even Aldi closed for a minute and we never closed. we never closed and Wendy's never fucking closed. So, God damn it, I gave Wendy's a tip. The lady that lady at Wendy's was stressed. She was stressed, and I gave her $20 because she was stressed. She needed a little help.
Right.
You know, that was my own stimulus package. And but it was the funniest thing that's turned into what that is. And here at our shop, when somebody goes like John just said, the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Well, you take credit cards, don't you? My paperboy takes credit cards, asshole. Everybody takes credit. Have you not heard of Square?
Right.
Like everybody takes Snap, like OnlyFans. That's how they operate as credit cards. And the credit card companies love it because it's credit cards.
Right.
The whole world is designed to eliminate cash.
What about Bitcoin? Would you take Bitcoin?
Fuck no. Jesus Christ. I won't take Amway products either. No, I won't do that. But it's funny when you think of
Maybe for the Bieber.
30 or 40-year-old men coming to my shop, and I'm like, well, yeah, just you want to pay the balance on the vehicle, just bring a check. Well, I haven't had a check in years. Okay.
Right.
Well, diversify your fucking assets. Come on, man. If you don't have a checkbook, there are things that you're going to have to pay for with check. I get that. That is it. If you're not going to have a checkbook, then you better be goddamn good when I ask you to do a wire transfer. Because I do wire transfers all the time. Yeah. I'm great at wire transfers. I can do a wire transfer with you just like that. But if you don't know how to do a wire transfer, like off the top of your head, then you better have a checkbook. So either know how to do a wire transfer out of your bank with your routing number and everything else, or have a checkbook. One of the two. If you can't do an on-the-fly wire transfer, like some of the 22-year-old kids coming to my shop, they got that shit nailed down. They got online banking down to a science. They're good at it. I mean, they're good at it. They can buy a small item and do online banking, and it works perfectly smooth, and there's no 4%.
Right.
They're good at it. Kids that we make fun of, they're good at it. But adults are like, I don't know. I haven't written a check. I had a guy write a check the other day, didn't even know how to write a check. Like, he had a check. It was like check number 0001.
Yeah.
And I had to coach him on how to write a check. If you don't do checks, understand how to do wire transfers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or accept the fact that you're giving 4% of every transaction to a company called JP Morgan Chase.
Right.
That honestly doesn't need the money. They just keep buying all these smaller banks, John. Yeah. So it's a really fucking hilarious thing. Hey, I spent some money today, guys. I spent some podcast money.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. We now have 3 swap meet booths.
Oh, sweet.
But I got 2 of them right close to the good bathrooms.
Nice.
So we have 827 up on the hill that John likes by the fence. So we got 827 up there. Check.
Premier.
Got that. Premier location up by the fence. High point in case the water comes in heavy. You know, you're good.
Yeah,
you got good high ground. And you can park vehicles on the other side of it and move your shit right in like we did last year. It's really good. But then I got
always good.
2 booths directly behind the AMA registration swap meet vendor booth. So everybody's going to be right there. And they are literally, if you draw a line between the AMA registration booth and the good shitters, that's where we are. Nice. We are 1 row behind them. So I got a double booth there. So that's easy because you get the trucks in and out easy.
Yep.
So you can get bikes in and out super easy, get trucks in and out super easy. Very cool for us.
Dan, can you tell me about this beer? Because it's pretty fantastic.
Uh-oh, what do you got going on there, boys?
We're drinking Chris Smith's beer. This stuff I brought from Wisconsin. He didn't show up tonight.
What is that?
It's the New Glarus Belgian Red. It's a cherry sour.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds.
Try a sip of that.
I can't.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, he can't. Yeah.
I really legitimately
Try a sip of
cannot.
that.
Phil, there's another
I
one.
like giving
There if you
invitations
want.
to people who aren't drinking alcohol and people who can't have gluten. Come on, have some. Oh, good. Thanks. I'll keep it all to myself.
Yeah, there you go.
This stuff is like dessert.
It's candy beer.
Yeah.
It's like drinking jelly.
Yeah. Is that the?
It's like drinking a cherry pie.
Is that the Belgian red?
Yep.
Yeah, the Belgian red. Yeah, that's
Delicioso.
pretty rad. That's pretty fucking rad. What's weird about that? There's a pound of Door County cherries in every 4-pack.
Wow.
Think about that.
It's good though.
There's a pound of cherries.
it's not
in
like jelly.
every single 4-pack.
It's just the perfect. It's sweet and cherry, but it's not ridiculous. It's not red pop.
It's balanced. It's really nice.
It's really fucking. I mean, it is delicious beer.
So wait,
you've
let me guess.
you've brought that before.
Let me
I've
guess.
tried that before. Yeah.
Is the recipe from Monks?
No,
No? Okay.
No,
it just
from-
looked like a monkey kind of like.
like a monkey kind of.
Weird old Wisconsin German guys.
All right.
I don't. Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those beers that even people who don't like beer, they like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's easy to like that.
Yeah,
beer.
but you like beer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have one of those before the night's over for sure.
Must.
It's a must-have for real. The when we think about going into the AMA Vintage Days idea, we had some pre-gaming today, a discussion about the Bourbon Fairy,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
and since we have the Bourbon Blaster 3000,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
we thought that there should be a companion to the Bourbon Fairy,
Yeah.
maybe sort of a built-in security, maybe because you're going to be wearing a tutu.
Yeah, that's what I did last year.
Right, a 4.4 and 8.8, whatever it comes out to be.
12 by 12.
12 by 12. So we thought that in addition to the Bourbon Fairy, we should have the Malort Demon.
Yeah.
So since we have the technology,
Oh my lord.
we
Oh
figured
my lord.
that we should just grab a couple of bottles of Malort,
Yep.
do up a bandolier,
I'm a loaded here.
a Malortelier.
Lord Lear.
Malortelier is one of the best programs I've ever
Oh God. Oh, now somebody in Chicago is going to run with this.
Malortelian.
Oh God.
This is the way.
Oh God.
The Malort Mister.
Wow.
You got to get Jim from Bandcamp.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he's the
He is the Malort. Yeah, exactly. So yes, so instead of the Bourbon Fairy
You
3000,
can call him the Dark Malort.
the Dark Malort, the Dark Malort. Yes. So we're gonna have the Malort Demon, and the Malort Demon will have the sprayer. And so I think the rule is whoever is the cool guy in the posse, like because when he shows up,
Yeah,
when
there's
he
gonna be
shows
somebody
up,
that's like,
illuminated. Meckle Fresh Bourbon Fairy.
Yeah.
It's the cool guy who walks up and goes, "Oh yeah, hit
I'll
me,
do that.
hit
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
hit me, baby."
He instantly earns.
The right to point out which one of his asshole friends gets to visit the Malort Demon.
Yes.
So it's kind of like Krampus.
Yeah.
You're kind of like sicking an evil demon on your worst friend.
Yeah.
So the cool guy who gets up, the first guy who steps up to the fire hose,
Yep.
gets to say,
He's a-
"And you hit Jimmy."
Yep. Yep.
And so then the Malort Demon goes over and distributes his wares unto the facial orifice of the
And then here's the thing.
fart knocker in the group.
So then we can even get kind of weird and let that person either choose to be good or evil to the next.
That's a
friend.
good point. Pay it forward.
Yeah. So like if you do that, then you get a credit somehow or something.
Well,
like
I
you
do
get
think it
karma
can be
comes
dealer's
around.
choice.
Yeah.
I think at that point, the Malort Demon has a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, has a lot of fucking leeway. Because at that point, you know that what normally happens is then it turns into, oh no, hit Tommy.
Yeah.
And very rarely does it turn into anybody's like joy of the relationship. Like nobody's paying it forward at that point. When the Malort comes out, it's just, well, I had to take a hit, so now you have to take a hit too. And that's really the deal. Nobody's ever had Malort wandering through the liquor store and going, I think I'd like to try that. No, you've always had Malort thrust upon you by somebody who just wanted to see your face.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's Malort is a lot like your first anal experience.
Did you ever have the Unicum Svek?
Svek, yeah, of course.
The Hungarian
Yeah.
stuff. That's the first time I had
That's
like that.
way better than Malort.
And I
that's
agree
what I
with
had.
Dan. I think that Svek is
That
kind of drinkable.
My herbal.
Yeah. If you have to get your herbal on, the Svek is kind of a drinkable drink. Malort has that finish of like a wet pack of cigarettes. Like if you found a wet pack of cigarettes in the bottom of the canoe
I think it tastes like
and made tea.
and made tea.
if you sucked on an old dish rag.
Okay.
That's the flavor it tastes to me.
But I still say
Yeah.
turpentine,
Yeah.
and
hard on old
colored,
dish
colored
rags.
pencil shavings
See, dude.
that were aged next to an old dirty mop in a janitor closet at an art school.
you guys are missing the citrus
I
notes.
was gonna say, man. I do.
You're missing the grapefruit notes.
You missed
And
the
to me, it's like,
grapefruit, you fucking
to me,
nutty.
it's walk down the hallway of a high-end hotel. Get the room service tray that has the old grapefruit sitting in it, the half a grapefruit.
With a cigar put out.
The cigar put out in it.
See, everybody's missing the point, though. A Malort isn't meant to be drank like that. It's an aperitif, isn't it? It's supposed to settle your stomach. You're just supposed to have one little blapper of it after you've had a meal to help your. It's a
you
digestive.
just sip it slowly.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be drinking from the Malort fire hose.
You're supposed
Let's
to be
go back.
savoring the flavor.
Let's go back to blapper. What the fuck is a blapper?
Ever did a blapper?
What's a fuck, man?
Oh, Lord.
You never had a blapper?
A blumper? What?
A blumpkin. Who's had a blumpkin? I know he's had a blumpkin. I know he's had a blumpkin.
A blapper. Well, that is usually a drug term. Just so you know.
Just saying.
I'm not hip to that.
My one buddy, a roommate.
I'm not trying to make you feel stupid or anything.
It was like, hey, you want to do a blapper before we go to class?
Blapper.
Yeah, sure. Set me up.
Oh, 3 stars.
Oh, man.
Come back from class, do another blapper.
Meanwhile, it was just an older kid grooming him.
Okay, guys. So let's get straight from the fucking horse's mouth, if you will, because I think that's where we are at right now. So
We could just put straw rum in the bourbon blaster.
one, I'm not willing to give up any of my Stro rum. So I will give. You know what? I have only given. Let's make a declarative statement. I've given Malort to great many an asshole who rightfully deserved it. I've only given Stro rum to my friends.
True.
Because I think they deserve the experience. The experience of Malort, that's not good. It's never good. It's never good. It's never like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. Whereas the experience of Stro rum is unique.
I love rum.
Yeah.
I think it's a stretch to call Stro rum.
You're right. If we did a blind taste test and we had one shooter of Stro rum and we had one shooter of any other rum on God's green fucking earth,
Rot gut moonshine.
doesn't matter. No, but rum. And we said one of these is rum and one of these is not rum. Even a person who did not know what rum is would be able to identify the thing that didn't kill them.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing that killed them is Stro.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Curious. Through the decades, Jeppson's Malort, a traditional wormwood-based digestive, has been thought of as a rite of passage or a hangover cure. For many Chicagoans, Malort is the drink that has defined the Chicago bar experience. Because in Detroit, they just steal your wallet. Right. It is hilarious that on the company fucking website, they have nothing but the memes of looking at your phone the morning after taking 10 shots of Malort, and it's Obi-Wan holding his head in disbelief. They have a Malort romper. They do. There's all kinds of stuff. The whole thing about this Swedish Chicago digestive that is what they called a Biesk Brennvaven, I guess. Dan, you want to help me with that one?
No, but
No.
No. Okay. Right.
dude, I just had a thought though.
Yeah. It has a name. It
was
actually
gonna
has
say-
a name.
Why? I mean, they're saying it's wormwood,
Right.
but they're not calling it absinthe.
No, they're not. No.
But here's
Absinthe is way different.
Yeah, way better.
It's
too.
not-
Way better.
So the marketing thing says Carl Jeppson begins producing his Biesk Brennviven Beskbrännvin, a traditional Swedish style of bitters, and sells it as a medicinal product that rids its imbibers of stomach worms and other parasites in the body. Jeppson skirts federal regulation, giving the recurrent conclusion by law enforcement that nobody would drink this concoction recreational. Look, guys, I'm telling you, prohibition didn't affect the sales of this product because it could not be drank recreationally. So it was clearly only medicinal for killing worms. Now, just like chemotherapy, it almost kills the person.
No, that's the point of wormwood.
Will it actually kill the worms though? I mean, that'd be great.
Like wormwood is supposed to.
If it's a worm or
Here, this is better.
Yeah, yes, it is better. Right.
Listen,
set me
so
up, dude. Give me. I'll drink a blapper of that.
They just made it legal in Ohio, right? So that means that Mid-Ohio is going to be soaked with this shit this year.
I
Because
disagree.
now you don't have to drive to Chicago to get it.
I disagree. I disagree.
No, it's going to be a bunch of assholes trying to be the funny guy. That maybe
Yugos have been legal in Ohio since 1983. We're not overrun with Yugos. Right? Because sometimes a bad idea is just a bad idea.
I'm telling you,
Right.
you're going to see it.
Now, if somebody shows up in a Yugo, people will circle around to look at the fucking idiot. Right? Look at the idiot with the Yugo.
Just a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
But not even.
Well, I was gonna get the spoon and the ice and stuff.
You got to get the spoon and the needle and the lighter and.
I mean,
right,
I just use it for the.
yeah.
I didn't want to do it intravenous. Is that how this is?
So the Swedish Brännvin.
You know, we're not here.
The Swedish Brännvin did come with a stem of wormwood in the bottle. So to give you that hint or that suggestion of wormwood,
This smells like ouzo.
because it actually used to come with a little stem of wormwood inside the bottle. So that's fine. There you go. Okay. That's great.
Good. I remember that.
Yeah. That's a thing.
Go for it. I mean, I do have the spoon and the spoon and everything else upstairs, but
So when you'd like to think
Right?
about the original marketing strategy,
now get the tick back out.
of Malort.
It was something like, hey, it's the same as denatured alcohol.
So when you look at the original marketing strategy of this product, they said that they started a 40-year hobby exclusively marketing Jeppson's Malort. A hobby. That's not the idea of a good liquor. They literally said only a horse's tail would switch from Jeppson's, the world's driest dry liquor. Driest? Okay. There you go.
They did it as a hobby because they didn't think anyone would pay for it.
I don't imagine anybody would. And not even getting too deep into what Malort is. It's not a great thing. And I've only met one person in my life that's like, I actually like the flavor of it. But it's not a great.
I like it.
Well, I mean, James.
Exactly.
James is the perfect example of somebody that drinks way too much
Our
Malort.
friend James has an affinity for Malort.
Yeah.
He really does.
Like it's scary.
When I raced cyclocross, we would
He
go
kinda
through a
likes it.
bottle a
He
day.
does.
Like, at the end of a cyclocross race, me and my 3 friends would finish a bottle of Malort. We loved that shit. It tasted like the mud. It was fun. It was the same thing.
You already had a mouthful of mud. Go for it.
Full of mud, drink Malort.
One of my comments
I became fond of it. I'm just telling you.
on their own website, it says, in an effort to keep Malort's full-bodied flavor, Patricia and Sam secured a long-term source for the strongest, most unpalatable wormwood. Now, this didn't happen in the 1800s. This happened in 2016. We can remember that. I have socks from 2016. It's not a long time ago. But somebody said, bring me your worst wormwood. Bring me the shit nobody else buys.
I want the dankest of the dank.
Where does wormwood grow? What is wormwood, anyways?
It's a weed. It's basically just a weed.
I think it's actually the bark
That's what I was going to
or
say. Yeah.
root of
Right.
Oh, here.
Of what?
Yeah.
the wormwood tree.
It's wormwood.
I don't know.
It's wormwood. And you know what? It's fine and it exists and that's great. But nobody ever said, Farmer Dan, sell me your worst corn. the corn that nobody else will buy because it's the worst corn. You can't sell to anyone else because I need to make some proper fucking rot gut whiskey out of it. Okay. Sleepy, can you sell me your worst potatoes, the mangiest, nastiest potatoes that nobody else will buy from you because we're going to make some truly foul vodka?
Can you sell me your worst weed, please?
Yes, exactly.
That's
Can
literally
you just give me seeds and stems?
I'd like to feed it to my cattle. And
This is the thing. You cannot talk about a product being even marketable when you're saying, I've gone to great lengths to make sure that this has the worst ingredients attainable.
well, the corn. As far as the corn goes, it's called Huit Lacoche.
Lacoche, exactly. Yeah.
I had to look it up.
My God, man.
I'd forgotten about it.
So not just saying, let's just acknowledge Malort is what Malort is. It's a practical joke played among friends for $16 a bottle.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
It kind of it's the whoopee cushion of liqueurs.
So, did I tell you that I have a new business I'm opening?
Whoopee cushions made out of Malort.
No.
Oh, hold on. I would like to clarify on their factory, on their company website. Would anyone like to read their company tagline?
Weeding out the weak since 1933.
I feel the same way about this podcast. I really do. Like we've had thousands of one-time listeners.
Yeah.
We might have had hundreds of thousands of one-time listeners.
Well, how do you think we got to a
probably
million?
had a million.
Let's see what these
we
idiots
have
are
a
doing.
very small number of
Hold on a
Patreon
minute,
members.
dude.
Yeah.
Are we the Malort of podcasts?
Oh, I think we might.
People, dude, you got to check this podcast out. What the fuck?
You listen to
Cleveland
all
Moto
2.5 hours?
Look, he had the Cleveland Moto face.
The best part's at the end.
Oh, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? You know, the best part of this podcast is when it's over.
When it's over.
Oh, no.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh God! Now I want Statler and Waldorf back.
That was truly, that is a very good, yeah.
Oh man.
To that effect, Lawrence Archer, you're getting a shout out.
Uh-oh.
$10 patron member.
Hey, now he gets all the jokes.
$10 pay. Now he gets the punchlines.
I think for $10, I feel like I can call you Larry.
You know what's crazy? You know,
Lawrence, you became
nobody-
Larry.
I think I did it pretty seamlessly that the guys that aren't stepping up,
Right.
they have no idea the jokes that the other guys got.
Well, that's the idea too. I mean, I think that's a really cool thing. I mean, I love that shit. The idea that the idea that people actually do support us a little bit and you know kick us a buck or two to try to keep this going, right? Because I did throw down a king's ransom to AMA this year because we got 2 camper spots. We've got 3 swap meet spots. I was able to do some media stuff so we could get people in for media stuff, but there are some admissions we have to buy. So there's things we have to buy. And then there's going to be food and beverage and all kinds of
I
fun
guess I
stuff
better
too.
chase the mice out of my camper.
Oh, yeah.
See if I can make it run again.
You didn't chase the mice, just give us BB guns, right? We need to chase the mice. Leave the mice in.
We'll hit him with the Malort gun.
Fair enough.
We'll leave the mice in. We'll just have BB guns. It'll just be more fun. Yeah.
We'll light it on fire, and when they run out,
So for people who do not know about the way that we do AMA Vintage Days is when we're done with the weekend, whatever we don't sell, we literally leave there for the Jawas. And without fail, Sunday afternoon at about 1 p.m., you see the Jawas coming out and they're kind of just like kind of kicking things. They're kind of like, you taking that with you?
I don't like to let anything go. I'll be riding something around. Hey, you want to buy this? I'll
John pushes right till the end.
right till the end.
I did indeed trade a Buell Blast, not running, for a bicycle trike that got used in a couple of parades. It was really horrible one year. Down at Barber.
Yeah, the
what
Sunday
you do.
night, the Sunday panic, the Sunday day panic.
Oh, yeah.
As people are loading out, and then there's always this weird equation of like trailer space to stress. Like when you see somebody that bought way too much shit, and you see their trailer and you see their booth, and you're like, that's never going to work.
So Bruce says he's staying till Monday.
What?
He's not leaving.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's just going to hang out.
Just watch the carnage?
Yeah, he's going to hang out one night, kind of all by himself.
And they let you?
I guess you can.
Yeah,
In fact, they encourage
Yeah,
it.
I think it's advertised. You can stay until Monday.
Fuck. We might have to do that. The Sunday
That's the
night
dumbest
party.
idea ever.
What?
I love it. I actually love that.
Me too.
I don't have to work on Monday.
I'm not going to now.
Everybody leaves.
Oh my God.
You're just left to fucking.
And then John gets to break out fireworks because they're not going to give a shit at that point.
Oh, yeah, they will because
You're the only person
I
there.
was going to say, there's 6 people and 73 security
What are
guards.
you going to do? Set somebody's tent on fire? That's
I
what they always
understand.
say.
I understand.
I mean, you could
But that is funny, that idea of being last man standing at Mid-Ohio. Oh,
I
man.
can tell you, as the first man standing a couple of years ago,
Right.
it is fucking weird to be there by yourself.
Right. To be alone.
Like just sitting there, and I was like, I got up early, and then you see a little car driving in. And like, holy shit, man! You know, and then a couple hours later,
In 4 hours, it goes from nobody
yeah,
to everybody.
yeah,
Yeah. It's,
0 to 11.
it does. It goes so fast. And like the people that are partying on the way in, the people have just resigned themselves to be like, I know I'm not getting through that gate.
Right.
And we always make sure our credentials are all well fucking secured prior to, but we still have a lot of problems scooping up stragglers and shit like that. It's a fucking challenge. But the year that we posted you up, that was the best idea ever.
It was.
That was
It worked
brilliant.
really well.
That was a really, really good idea. We're going to see what we can do this year to make something happen with that.
I love that. Dude.
Kind of, it's pretty cool.
It's so neat to be there, man.
You're tumbling, doing cartwheels naked through the field.
I just think the whole idea of just being like the only man at Mid-Ohio.
Wait, John. Let's be realistic. There was no tumbling. I was just
He was the wacky waver inflated guy.
There was no helicopter either.
Smoke went in and
a slight bobble.
it's so, but that's a silly idea. The idea of like hanging around till Monday for no
that
good
sounds
reason.
great because you never Sunday like you want to sit there and just relax.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Saturday's party is usually pretty good.
It is pretty good.
But then you're like, fuck, I got to pack my shit up.
Well, that's you guys. You guys have been with me for many, many years. You'll know that on Sunday load-in day, the last item that goes down is the big tent.
Yeah.
So the big tent stays up because we can load all the bikes and we can do everything we're going to do.
Yep.
But we always have to have the refuge
Shade.
of shade on the Sunday scorcher. And we've got that big ass tent. So we'll just keep some camp chairs set up. We keep the cooler because the cooler now has all the stuff that's left over, raccoon breakfast.
Right.
It's completely ready to go.
yeah.
It's the coldest that cooler's ever been.
Think about last year, we had Tent City. It was
We
like
did have-
it was like 2 blocks of tent.
It was crazy.
It was fucking awesome.
It was all the easy ups ever.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then we had rugs showed up.
I
And
brought
fucking-
4 carpets.
I had my inflatable vagina that I
was
never
pretty
even got
great.
to sit in.
No.
But yeah, that was man. We had a setup.
It was a
last
good setup last year. It was a lot of fun. I'm hoping we can pull off the same thing this year. So,
Pretty sure Haley Bell's not going to be there. A little disappointed.
well,
by
Haley
that.
Bell's 17 months pregnant right
in a
now.
way. She's in a way.
She's in the way. Yeah, she's in the way. Meaning, if she turns sideways, you can't walk past her.
Oh.
Haley's fully pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out you can't be a little bit pregnant because it doesn't stay little for long. She's super pregnant, so I don't think we're going to see her at AMA Vintage Days this year. But the rest of the Misfit and Idiots will be there. We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
But I'm not at all worried about having a good time at AMA.
never.
No. I'm only worried about selling
I don't necessarily.
90 dumb bikes. Like, that's it.
I'm not saying I will stay till Monday. I'm not sure, but he threw it out there, and I think he's perfectly happy if he just like.
So the way that
there
we've
for a
historically been doing it, for those that haven't rolled with us before, but we generally do a very gentle. We generally gently extract ourselves from AMA. It's generally we move pretty slow. It's like a time lapse, right?
Do something, have a beer, smoke some
Smoke a
cigarettes.
cigarette, have a beer.
Okay, we'll do this, that, and the other thing. Sit down.
I'm
smoke
sweating now. Sit down again. Right? And so we'll just generally just get out there in the slowest way possible, and then wait to go rescue the last 2 or 3 items we want to get out of the booth, right out of the swap meet.
That's just on the way out.
That's on the way out. Right. You're like, okay, we got empty trailers on the way over to the swap meet in case we see something good on the way that we're willing
No,
to.
just kick that one over.
Yeah, just. Are we taking that? No, we're not taking that. Are we taking that? No, but we're gonna get the forks out of it though. Fuck that. So we'll take the forks out of it. We're not gonna take the frame. And it's funny the way that we roll out of there. And then that, hour and a half drive home. And then at my house, Sunday night, at my house, it's like everybody gets a shower. Everybody finds out where they're going to sleep, because we all have the California people there or Pakistan people there. Right. And then it's all about like, all right, are we all cool now? Is everybody fully recovered? And everybody's like, yeah, it's so peaceful. We go down to the lake and we'll go to the lake and we'll just watch the waves. People will jump in the water and have a good swim. It's nice. And everybody feels like fully recovered. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, so we good now? Everybody's like, yeah, okay. We're going to go to the Mexican restaurant. What do they do at the Mexican restaurant? Pictures as big as your fucking head. Yeah. And we have one of the best Mexican restaurants in my neighborhood. And it turns out when we roll in there, that we roll out and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, that hit me hard. What happened in there? It was just a good Mexican restaurant. And we fill the patio up. We go back to my house. We go back in the lake. We swim around a little bit more. Maybe, somebody's brave. They take the kayak out, take the canoe out. That's fine. But the idea is you basically have nothing to do. And then the next day, people are thinking about their flights on Monday. And we'll go have a big breakfast that can't be beat. But last year we did the ceremonial scooter ride from my house because I had a bunch of bikes there. So everybody jumped on a different bike and we took different bikes from my house to breakfast. And everybody traded bikes. And so we all got to ride different bikes. So I was like, what have you never ridden? I've never ridden a Honda Super Cub. You're getting a Honda Super Cub. And it was just fun. So we put everybody on bikes they weren't used to. We rode around the neighborhood. And for a lot of these people from out of town, they've never ridden anywhere without a helmet on.
It was the Oprah of Mid-Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a Super Cub and you're getting a Super Cub.
Oh, I put Moyne on Scoot Baca. Uh-huh. Because he's ridden everything. Yeah. And he's like, oh, no, because that bike's fast. Yeah. He's like, that bike is... What did you do to that? That bike wheelies. And I'm like, yeah, that bike wheelies pretty good. And he's like, that's a really fast bike. And I'm like, it's a Vespa. It's like,
it's just picked up all the scraps.
It is. It is literally. Every time a bike gets smooshed in Cleveland, if it's got a good part on it, it ends up on Scoot Baca. That's it. Yeah, Tom's looking forward to a wheel change coming up in its future. That's coming up. It's coming up in its future.
It's like when Christine gets all crashed up and slowly starts to pull itself
back together again. I did 94 miles an hour on it this morning on the way coming into work. And, full face helmet, I got my gear on and everything else. And I'm laying down on the thing. And I was passing all the cars. I'm just passing everything. And I passed everything and I got to my exit. And it doesn't take long when you're doing pretty, moving along a little bit of a clip. And I pulled off the side, and as I pulled over, the guy that was behind, I did not know that. I'd picked up a straggler. So I picked up a Remora, and I'd slid over to the right to get my exit, and he slid right over with me, and he pulled up, and he's like, holy shit, what is that thing? And I said, it's a Vespa. He goes, I thought you were riding a coconut. I realized, I was like, oh shit, it kind of looks like a coconut. I guess the furry, like the whole fur
or cousin it.
And he's like, I thought you were riding a coconut. Because from the back, all he sees is the back of the Vespa. And I was like, oh yeah, there you go. All right, cool. That's all right. I like that. But yeah, that's the fun of
for coconuts.
that's the fun of Mid-Ohio is you get to experience all kinds of weird bikes. And honestly, people are generous there. People are so sweet. Everybody looks out for each other. And if you're short of something, you're not short of it for very long. That whole the whole idea of like the giving thing that somebody said, it's nerdy Burning Man or whatever, or motorcycle Burning Man. Yeah, if you need a thing, like if you're like, oh shit, man, I need a 35 watt relay. Oh, just walk down the aisle. 10 people will offer you 35 watt relays. It's like, that's not the hardest thing to find.
Don't ask for pizza at 1 a.m.
on
Friday. That might get you shot.
No, that's not cool.
No.
That is a pizza at 2 a.m. on Friday or Saturday. That's like a $9,000 pizza.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, I do a lot. That's that moment.
I wish you wouldn't have got rid of that bike because we could have made that into a delivery service and made money.
Oh, sure. You mean
the giant
to literally just have some pizzas in reserve?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the worst idea.
They don't need to be warm, fresh, or hot.
Oh, not at 2 a.m.
They just need to be Pizza Hut.
Oh, so you need a Little Caesars.
Well, basically.
If you pick them up at the gate, you won't make it halfway back to the campsite before they're gone.
No, you won't. That's exactly right. You won't. Hell, security will shake you down. You're going to want their 20%. Yeah. But it is the funniest thing about Mid-Ohio because I will usually on the way in, I'll buy like 2 sheets program your own sandwiches, like a foot long. Yeah. And I'll go in, I'll eat one on the way down, but I'll have the other one wrapped. And I'll throw the other one up on the dashboard, in the warmer, right? So I'll throw it up on the dashboard. And at about 3 a.m, oh, that is the best sandwich ever at 3 o'clock in the morning.
15 minutes from going bad. So
it's
just perfectly
It's
squishy.
literally about to turn. The bread and the cheese are now the same element. You cannot distinguish the bread from the cheese.
Aside from the T-Dub,
Yeah.
what's everybody thinking about riding down there?
Oh, yeah. They're all just going to line up to ride the T-Dub.
I mean, what are you bringing, Dan?
Same as always, the S65 and the SSR.
Very nice, very nice.
I need to try to pick up something else. I got a friend coming from Minnesota.
No, we have extras.
Yeah, we have a bunch of extras. Yeah. That's not
What
a hard
about you,
thing.
Sincere?
I'm going to bring some stuff to sell, I think.
Okay.
And then...
Stuff that's not going home.
Yeah, hopefully.
Is the KE 100 coming or no? It's staying in the...
I might be selling it.
Yeah. Not
Okay,
a bad,
but it's showing up with the intention of being sold.
Yeah. I might do... It depends on what happens in the next month or so, but I might do the SP.
Oh,
I'm just not using it as much.
You're not using it.
Negative. That doesn't go to Mid-Ohio. That goes on Marketplace, and you take the cash with you to Mid-Ohio.
And John's not fucking around about that.
That bike is nice. You're right. Yeah,
A street legal enduro. Yeah. No.
yeah you're right.
And John taught me that years ago. Have the motherfucker listed on eBay
Yeah.
well before Mid-Ohio. Well before Mid-Ohio. Because then you can always set it up that I can deliver it to you at Mid-Ohio. I can give it to you. Because that Mid-Ohio is the giant nexus. Right. If you are not going to Mid-Ohio, somebody you know is going to Mid-Ohio. And the Mid-Ohio is the hub of the underground scooter railroad, the underground motorcycle railroad in North America. Right. So if you got a guy that's like, going to Denver or Atlanta or something, and you get to Mid-Ohio, it doesn't take too long. We've done it. I took a bike from Mid-Ohio to Denver.
Right.
Because I was going that way 3 weeks later, or 2 weeks later. It's a good place. And at Mid-Ohio, people are going to knock you down hard on that bike. Right. But on Facebook Marketplace or on Craigslist, you control that. That's a good idea. That's smart. If it's nice, if it's pretty, and you want good money for it.
You got a title for it?
That's true.
But I hope to be riding the van. I'm decided I'm going to try to finish that.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, by all means, do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I have to race Phil's TW200.
That's true.
Beat him with 60 less CC.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably will. I think Piper's coming with me this year, so she's been learning on the SSR. So at least I'll bring 1 or 2 of the SSRs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And then I've got the KE 250 and a KL 250. I think those are both good bikes for down there that may or may not come home. I don't care.
Yeah. All right.
And, maybe a quad runner.
Cool. Well, that's a good idea.
Or the trike. I thought the trike would be fun down there.
Oh, yeah.
You got to ride the trike out at the
I
property.
saw that.
Yeah.
Fucking much front wheel authority on that thing. Yeah.
No back brake.
It's not hard.
No, but it's nice to know that there was no back brake as I was already heading toward the fucking sky.
I think you should have assumed that.
Yeah, fair enough.
The general demeanor of the bike
the whole
suggested
bike.
it.
It's a Y zinger.
In fact, I did tell you there's a whisper of front brake.
A whisper of front brake. Just a hint of front brake. Yeah. Nothing that would get you in trouble.
I think that when I said that means there's no front brake.
There's no front brake.
rear brake.
No.
And a whisper of front brake.
I got from that that there probably wasn't a front brake. But
so you just have to lean hard into the back brake.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what I was figuring.
That's not the way it works.
No.
Not at all. Just throw your right foot under the rear tire.
If the rear brakes worked, I wouldn't have said anything.
Right. You just go have it. Have at it. Yeah. A non-functioning front brake on most bikes at Mid-Ohio is a good idea.
Yeah, right.
That's a very good idea. That's a good lineup. If Piper's coming out, that's a good lineup. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to bring a couple of buddies for other people to ride, because it's always a big hit. We have turned people from being like, I ride motorcycles into, the buddy is a fine and noble beast. We have converted people by loaning them a buddy for the Mid-Ohio weekend. And they're like, so I have a broken spleen, 3 broken ribs, a dislocated jaw, and a hole near my butt, but that buddy won't die. And at the end of the weekend, they're like, the buddy did better than I did. Yeah. And then we sell them, and we sell them to people who then enjoy them more.
Right.
So people have learned how it's truly unfuckwithable. A buddy scooter is unfuckwithable.
Well, not only that, but like compared to most of the vintage bikes we're riding, you can hold the beer and still ride it.
Oh, yeah.
You can pull in with flip-flops, a cigarette, and a beer.
Yeah. And be totally fine.
And totally be fine.
Everything controlled. You got brakes, everything right there.
Go in and take a hot water shower, come out, and it's still putt. If the battery was dead and you didn't want to shut it off,
and
it will idle for 9 days.
And if you're smart, you had fucking a half a bag of ice and 4 beers underneath the seat. And then you're fucking solid, man. It's a fucking great little dude.
It is the best Mid-Ohio bike. Yeah. And the weird thing is, I know it's only 10-inch wheels. It apparently will go anywhere.
Yeah, it will.
Because I'm plodding around in the back, the trials bikes areas and the hill climb area and everything else. And anywhere I was going on the Hunter Cub, Liza was right behind me on a buddy. And I just couldn't, like her and Stumpy John, I couldn't shake them. So I'm like, I've got 18-inch wheels with knobby tires. And they got 10-inch wheels and Shinko white walls. And I couldn't shake them. I couldn't make them. Like every time I look back, they're still there.
Yeah.
It's a really weird little combination.
You can get hit by a 12-year-old doing 90 on a fucking 50cc motorcycle.
0 damage.
They pop right back up.
Pop right back up. Man. It is a bike that has its own built-in crumple zones. It's made of the plastic that baby dolls are made of. It just bounces back from anything. It's a really funny bike. But we'll bring a few of those down for sure because those are always a crowd pleaser. And I will always have a few of them.
What's your pick for what's going to sell first out of your horde of Mid-Ohio bikes?
So I found a key for we're going to have some weird big bikes. So we've got some full on adult size scooters. So if you look at a buddy scooter and go, no, too small. Sir, we've got you covered. We're bringing big wheeled bikes. We're bringing Aprilia 150 Rotax powered bikes.
Oh, nice.
We're bringing full size. Like if you're 6'7", if Lurch needs a bike, we got you covered. We're going to bring that. We've got Kimco People 250S we just found the key for. Yay. And it's got a title. So we're bringing some big freeway capable bikes that need a home. Not in my place. We're probably going to bring 2.5, maybe 3 whole Grand Vista 250s. John likes those.
Absolutely.
Yeah, John likes a Grand Vista 250. It holds 47 beers under the seat and 2 bags of ice.
Yep.
Didn't you sell
And a
one?
300-pound fat ass on the seat.
John sold a broken one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. Maybe Piper and I were riding the shit out of it. I'm like, but I kept the sign on, and we were over watching the movie.
Right.
And I saw somebody looking there. I'm like, that guy doesn't look cheap either.
Right.
I'll go talk to him.
So what does a cheap person look like?
This.
A guy drinking a beer out of a cozy he paid for. Yeah. That's what a rich guy looks like.
Guy had shoes.
He didn't look cheap. He had shoes. He was at Mid-Ohio and he had clean pants on.
He was staying in a hotel.
Oh, I bet you he took an Uber there.
He showered once.
He didn't take a shower in a stable full of random dicks.
The cattle dip.
The cattle dip.
With some 8-year-olds throwing soap and
Throwing
shit
soap
over the
at
top of
you. Yeah, so that was amazing that you sold that bike because that was when I was like, you know what, this isn't the right bike for here. This is a highway touring scooter, and we're in a mud bog. It's not the appropriate bike for this situation. But push button go ride.
Like, this thing runs great. It'll go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
I think it had a title and everything.
It did. It was ready.
Screaming deal.
Yeah, we have a couple, 3 of them we're going to bring down this year. So But yeah, that's what happens to bikes that I cannot sell out of my showroom. They go down to Mid-Ohio. They have a triumphant last 3 days of Cleveland Moto ownership. They see some shit and then they go off to their new owner. Yeah. And that's true. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
This is the only attention you're going to get from the rest of your life.
Oh, John will diddle you for a little while. Like you've been sitting for 4 or 5 years. John will diddle you back into life.
I'm just excited about having Tom. I think that's going to be a whole new factor.
It is. It's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm like, do we need to have like some LED lights and a whole setup and a lift and like?
Oh God, no.
I say he should be working his balls off that whole weekend.
No dice. No dice.
We are going to have the giant pile of tires.
Yes, we are. So we have found, I'm not joking, guys. We have found no less than 50 brand new, but too old tires.
Yep.
They're seasoned.
Well, let me take a look at them first.
Oh, no, you can't. Oh, yeah.
They've been well conditioned.
Yeah.
Right up my alley.
Right. Look,
John's like, I watch videos. I can use an M80 and put even the hardest tire on my rim.
That still doesn't work.
Just need some wintergreen oil.
yes. In fact, these tires are probably going to have to come with a 55-gallon drum of wintergreen oil. Because it's funny because like, I did look at a couple of them. I went through, because I'm careful. I don't want to sell people old tires, so we put them in a pile. So if a tire gets too old, I put it in a pile. It's a brand new tire, but it's got to go in the pile. And so that's how we live. But I went over to my Moto Guzzi Scrambler and I looked at the date code on the tires on the Moto Guzzi Scrambler, and I realized the tires on the bike that I was going to ride were older than the tires I was putting on the must get rid of pile. Right. And I was like, shit. But we're gonna have a lot of there's gonna be a lot of Harley taillights. Yep. If you need a FXR taillight, we got you covered, baby.
Got you covered.
That's it. If you want an LED taillight,
You got to make self-serve sites. Put a lockbox.
that's a great idea. The honor box.
Put your cash in the box.
Oh, the sign.
Don't call me.
The clerk's
Don't just
sign
put
that
your-
says, if you intend to shoplift,
No,
please
no haggle price.
Nope. Right above that, we get a fucking fake security camera.
Security camera.
And it says you're on camera.
A ring
Please
camera.
Leave a fucking, the amount of the thing.
There's going to be so many pictures of dicks. It's going to be nonstop dicks. It is just going to be
Well,
dicks.
no, it's not going to be a real camera. It's just
No.
blinking light.
This is where you get the stop motion GoPro that sits there all day. It'll do 24 hours. You know
don't
that.
really need it.
You don't even
But do you
give a
really
fuck.
no? We just post all those dicks on the
Zero
Patreon page.
Fucks give.
Exactly. What I was thinking,
Ooh, you stole a $5 fucking.
exactly. What I was thinking more likely to happen is that we would put the bikes in the booth, as we have done for years, with the pie plate that says, call my cell phone number, which works great at Mid-Ohio. It's never been a problem. But then we'll put a note that says, oh, by the way, come and visit us in the campsite
Right.
for shenanigans,
Yeah.
liquor, and the real deals, because it's not, because we know we've had more traffic in the campsite than we've ever had in the booths.
Yeah.
And the booths is for the punters, like people that don't know how to do Mid-Ohio, they just do the swap meet.
I mean, really, you could line up the campsites
Yeah.
with just a little bit of lighting. Yeah. I'm kind of working on a solar little floodlight.
Oh,
thing I wanna do.
really?
Well, I have like an electric power washer. I want
Yeah.
to take the power washer off it. I have a huge, communications battery,
Yeah.
and I have a solar panel.
Yeah.
And then I had a expandable painter's thing.
Yeah.
And I want to put a light on that, so
Sure.
I can mount that, so I can have a mast light.
Yeah.
And just sort of have like little,
We could be night selling.
well, yeah,
We do our best selling at night.
night selling and
Yeah.
lighting up the porta potties.
Oh, I like
I'm
the
gonna have
idea of night
I've got
selling.
my super quiet generator now, so that's going to. We can probably have party lights and maybe a band. We were talking
Look,
amplifiers.
if we can make the porta potties lighted and therefore more attractive.
I just feel bad for the women. Like
I feel bad for
you're
everybody.
stumbling through the dark to find a dark porta potty.
dark porta potty, yeah.
Like a little night light in a little street light wouldn't hurt our area.
No, it wouldn't. Like, let's bring the neighborhood up a little.
If we had like just a solar power.
Oh, and by the way,
one light bulb, just one little light bulb.
and if we do
just-
that, not a ramp.
yeah,
Because then we can do nocturnal ramp.
yeah.
And we can have nocturnal missions.
Yeah.
We could have nocturnal missions all over our campsite. And I think that's a good idea.
I'm going to call it the anglerfish.
The anglerfish. That is true. People will fucking flock to that shit.
Dude, what about
Yeah.
not a fire in front of not a ramp?
Not a fire in front of not a ramp is a good idea
For
too.
night, because then you get more of an effect.
Oh, it's much more of an effect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not a fire in front of not a ramp.
We already did the jumping over the fire thing.
Yeah, well,
That was fun.
that's pretty good.
That was one of the best Mid-Ohio photos, that one kid. I never rode a motorcycle. I just bought this XR, this little dirt bike.
And you know what?
We're like, we're jumping over that fire. Really? Okay.
And that was serious. That was way too much fire. That was like 26 pallets.
Yeah.
And it was pallet fire. Pallet fire is hotter than normal fire.
Yeah.
And pallet fire goes up quick. And that kid went through that fire like nothing. Like it was no big deal.
Like a 20-year-old.
Like a 20-year-old. Game the fuck on. So, but I am really looking forward to it because it's always a good time. But then the idea of too, like, filling in the holes that we've discovered from years past. So when we discover like years past, you're like, okay, at nighttime it gets super dark and people are just wandering around looking for something to do, or things get real quiet. But there's never a stop of activity in front of our spot because Jesus Christmas. Holy crap. What the fuck? What's the time on that, Sleepy?
I can't read.
1 minute 49, 1 hour 49 something.
You got a little ways to go.
Wow.
You can't clear the room yet.
Man. Holy crap. Jesus Christ. That's what it sounds like when your chainsaw hits green wood. It's just bad. Oh, man. There you go.
Just breathe in deep. It'll go away quicker.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Light a match.
My God.
No,
there's literally pieces of linoleum lifting under your seat right now.
Did I mention Dairy Twist open this
Oh, you
time?
did get Jerry Twist? Yeah, there you go.
I get a taste of sauerkraut.
That's that vanilla shake treating you right now.
Oh, man.
It's not good. It's not good, man.
So I think this year I'm bringing down 2, maybe 3 trailers. Wow. So I'm bringing down, I'm going to do a U-Haul trailer for the weekend.
Yeah.
Enclosed. Because
nice.
people can sleep in it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have a bunch of bikes in there, but then the U-Haul enclosed trailer, people can sleep in. They bring cots and stuff like that and have a good place to sleep. And it gets them up off the ground. So that's nice. And then we'll be able to have more stuff. Because those trailers work great. You just pop the trailer on there. Kromke's trailer has been the house for the Misfits for the past several years. It's been a perfect place to sleep.
It was a hospital last year.
It was a hospital last year. It was an aid station. That's it. It did. There was some triage going on in there.
Yeah.
Woo! But it's like when you think about that environment and you're like, oh, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to go to a motorcycle. We're going to go to literally a car racing track for 3 or 4 days. And we're just going to be there.
Yeah.
And well, what do you bring with you? Everything. Well, what do you buy once you get there? Nothing important.
No, but think about how this fucking escalates. Like
Yeah.
some dude out there
Yeah.
has never been here before. He's gonna go and it's gonna be like he's gonna take a backpack.
Yeah,
Thing.
right.
He's gonna be like, oh, that was fucking crazy. And then he's actually and he's probably gonna go home that weekend because he doesn't know about the parties yet.
Yeah, right.
Next year you come, you find out. So then, like 10 years later, now you're constructing tent cities. We're having fucking like vehicles specifically built for the fucking event.
Absolutely.
We're working out fucking sanitation and
Yeah.
lighting.
We're making it better.
Yeah.
We're gonna be there for 3-4 days.
I know.
John and I watched a guy roll up on a motorcycle and sleep in a tarp.
Yeah.
He just rolled himself into a tarp. He took a tarp off the back of his dirt bike, laid it on the ground, and rolled himself into it like a
Fucking
burrito.
brilliant, actually.
And he did okay.
Yeah.
Like he did all right. He did good. And his was the only campsite that didn't blow away.
He tried to take on Britain.
He did. That dude was going to fight every British person there. Like, the only reason they didn't come back after him is he had nothing to take. In a true British style, they went, well, what's he got? And he has nothing. He has a tarp. And they were like, oh, it's not worth our time. We're not going to colonize him. So that was it. They gave up on him.
We don't want a Sportster.
We don't want his Sportster. They looked at his Sportster. They didn't want to colonize it. So they kept it. They just let him alone. But he did try to take on their entire camp. That's the one camp I feel bad for, is because they are between us and the burnout.
Yeah.
So they're between us and Louisville. And the fact that they're between us and Louisville, they are the buffer zone.
Yeah. Well, what about that couple last year that looked at they were like in the wrong place on the corner there? Like
Oh yeah, they pulled into camp there. Like they were like, "This is a great spot, Gertrude."
Tried to warn them,
And they were just nope.
nope.
We're stuck. We're not leaving here. This is a good spot. Yeah. And then it was just like all hell broke loose for 4 days.
I think they finally caved on the end, toward the end of the week.
Oh, do you think they bailed out of that corner?
No. I think they like said fuck it and enjoed it.
Oh, you mean they just broke?
They broke.
Yeah, they broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That happens. It's a violent corner, though.
It is.
It is a violent corner. I gave it my pound of flesh. I will tell you.
And at any time you're like, hey, somebody spraying me. No, that's puke. Like,
There's the level of the atrocity, the human atrocity that is there is on a par with the barrel racing.
Yeah.
Because they're different types. They're different styles.
Well, there's a lot of like people trying to really take it to the. I've seen more penises there than I have in shower rooms.
Oh, yeah. Well, but there's that element of like you get into that pack and that environment, and just the fuck you is contagious. It's so insane, and this starts by them playing like George Michael.
Yeah, that's the best part about it.
It's like they start by like
selection.
Like it starts with Careless Whisper, and then just goes to shit from there.
Yeah.
And it's so weird.
It is weird, man.
But yeah, and I love it because it's like my favorite thing.
But I also love when it's like maybe a person that's used to a different motorcycle scene.
Right, yeah.
And they think they've stumbled on just a party.
Right.
They think there's just going to be guys going, woo, and boo.
Yeah, right.
And then it gets really weird and fun and like that.
No,
it's
it's
kind of interesting to see like, the hell? Like,
no, when you go to Chillicothe, when you go to when you go to an outlaw biker event, when you go to Sturgis, a corporate event, when you go to something like that, there's a selection on your dial, right? You've tuned your old, 1974 Zenith TV click tuner. You've tuned it to a certain channel.
Right.
AMA Vintage Days is UHF.
Yeah.
You never know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You switch that channel selector to UHF, and there are 61 subchannels that you might be getting. And that's the weird thing, is it's a click tuner. It is not every biker rally you've ever been to. It is not every motorcycle event you've ever been to. It's not every super bike weekend you've ever been to. It's not like, okay, this is Isle of Man and we do this here, and this is where we do that there. Fucking AMA is just weird. Like, just people just pull out the dumb. You guys showed a picture of 3 Cub Cadets welded together.
That's perfect for Mid Ohio.
And I looked at that thing, and I looked at 3 Cub Cadets welded together, and I only thought of one thing, and that is ages ago, we saw a Cub Cadet riding mower. They had a big fella. I mean, big fella. Like a fella that couldn't be anywhere on his own without a helper. But we saw a big fella on a Cub Cadet riding mower, and it was like a 0 turnstile mower or whatever, but he was riding that. And then he had a trailer behind him, and the trailer behind him had half of a Cub Cadet mower, not the front wheels, just the back wheels. And his equally big twin brother was in the back of the Cub Cadet thing. No cutting deck or anything. This was just meant to move 2 dudes about 450 pounds apiece, and raise your hand if you ever saw them, because it was weird. And that's how they got around Mid-Ohio. But these Cub Cadets weren't like shitbox. They were dressed out. So these were dressed out Cub Cadets with no mowing deck on them that were just there to move extraordinarily oversized Mid-Ohio participants. What you guys saw was 3 Cub Cadet lawn tractors welded together.
In centipede.
A centipede.
Yes.
Cub Cadetipede.
Cub Cadetipede.
And it was a Cub Cadetipede. The only reason I think it got disqualified for Mid-Ohio is the turning radius was 175 feet. And you couldn't make the hook to get it down the next aisle without like a 72-point turn.
So what's funny is like maybe somebody doesn't understand why we're having it. Like people don't understand that like you go to Mid-Ohio if you've never been there before on a Thursday as a normal human being.
Right.
But by Sunday you want weird shit.
Yes, you go in a normal person.
Yeah.
If you want, oh my God, think about the experiment.
Yeah.
Take the squarest guy you know.
Right.
Maybe he watches like 2 NASCAR things a year, right? He does the things. Like he's a square fella. He probably
like Harleys.
He probably golfs,
Fords.
Right? But you take a fella who's like a normal square fella and you bring him down to Mid-Ohio. Yeah. By Saturday, he's going to buy a Trail 90.
Or something, something weird.
He's going to have developed an affinity for and a desire for a Trail 90.
Dude, he's going to have a boner over a fucking grasshopper.
or a disdain of walking.
Well, that's the other thing too. Right. He's going to be the guy who's going to be like, you know what? This walking thing is terrible. This place is like 900 square miles. Yeah. And then he's going to go over and rent a golf cart. And if he rents a golf cart, then he's going to see more bikes more readily. And then he's going to be like, fuck this golf cart. Yep. That guy's got a running 70cc whatever. Yeah. And he's going to have a Trail 70 or he's going to have a CT90, right? Or something. But he's going to be there. And that's it. He's done. He's given up his normal life.
Yeah, 4 years later, he's the guy going, no, that's not a 73. Look at the tail.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Did you see the clutch lever? We're going back for that.
Oh, God.
That's not an automatic. No. That's got a clutch lever. Yeah. We're going back for that. That's what's going to happen. And he's going to turn into a fucking degenerate Mid-Ohio motherfucker. Yeah. But it's true. People buy bikes that are only good at Mid-Ohio. Right. And then they're like, they try to ride them in the real world and it doesn't work.
Well, that's part of TW200.
TW200.
Dude, that's a slang though. In our text loop that we talk about the podcast. Yeah. Occasionally somebody will post a bike and like I think it's you or somebody will be like 2 Mid-Ohio.
2 Mid-Ohio.
Which means like, dude, you don't really want that.
No, you don't really want that. That's 2 Mid-Ohio. Today we had somebody over fun an SSR 70. Like one of our customers just used it too much. So they somehow broke an SSR 70, but Tom fixed it, right?
Yeah.
So Tom fixed it. And so I know the guy's coming to pick it up tomorrow, but it's been fixed and waiting for this guy for like one carb clean.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a period of time. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm going to start the bike up today and just make sure that when the guy shows up tomorrow, everything's golden. So I go over to this thing and of course it's carbureted and whatever. So it's cranky. And so I start it and it takes a while to become a bike again. And it's an automatic transmission. So like every time I hit it, it dies, but it just needs to be run and warmed up. So I get on this thing. It's a 70cc. It's a 70cc mini bike for children. And it has an automatic transmission. But motherfucker, it's got an electric start.
Yep.
It goes exactly the top speed for Mid-Ohio. That's as fast as it goes. I took it down the street next to our shop. I'm sitting one wallet chain off the ground, right? I am as fast as you should ever go at Mid-Ohio. I'm enjoying myself fully and just go all the way down the street, turn around the cul-de-sac, see this guy with his pit bull and they're cool. Hey, what's going on? It's just super cool. Chat with somebody and the bike's just sitting there. And then and off I fuck. And then I come back to the shop. I do 100 little circles in the parking lot, wake the bike up, remind it what its job is, the whole deal. And I'm like, fuck, that was completely fun. That was totally a rewarding experience on a child's 70cc bike.
And it's good for Mid-Ohio because guess what? It's automatic. So
it's automatic, so you can drink and drive.
The most fun I've ever had at band camp.
Yeah.
Was that Fast 50?
Fast 50.
Yeah.
It's a very strange thing, but Mid-Ohio is a very problematic area because you're in a universe that is not applicable to the outside world, right? Nothing that holds true in Mid-Ohio necessarily works outside of Mid-Ohio. It's just the currency is different. Everything's strange. It's like going to a foreign country. It's Mid-Ohio Stan.
If you're female, you're automatically a 10.
Oh, boy. I mean, look, I have a long history. I have taken a lot of ladies to Mid-Ohio for various different things, but their response is always usually like, I love this place is great. And I'm like, yeah, it is great, isn't it? And like, this is a good time. We're having a really great time. People don't treat me like I'm weird. People offer me bikes to ride. No, it's true. Everybody at Mid-Ohio is like, you don't need to turn up the femininity at Mid-Ohio. No, you don't. You don't need to work hard at Mid-Ohio. You don't need to put on any fancy makeup.
If you're female, you're automatically a 10.
Because you're there.
That's my point. Yeah.
Because you're participating. And we've all been there. We've all seen the people at Mid-Ohio that don't want to be at Mid-Ohio.
Right.
We've seen those people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And they put off a radiation. Like you can feel them before you can see them. You can be like, there's somebody here that's not happy about being here. And then you come around the corner and see the person tapping their foot, like looking not happy about the whole situation. And you're like, oh, that guy just spent their groceries. Like, that's it. That's the roof that was supposed to go on the house.
I pretty much decided that my snowmobile needs wheels.
Yeah.
Because I thought about it a lot. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to think about it long and hard because I'm like, if it has wheels, I can ride it all year long, even in the snow. But this year I got to ride it once because that's the only snow we had. So if somehow my snowmobile got wheels on it, I'd be fucking stoked. So I'm all in on, I'm thinking about it.
You saw the one that was there.
And that would be nothing compared to mine. Because if you tried to if you barrel raced mine, it would be fucking sick, dude. As soon as you come around the corner, wham!
You'd be, fucking airborne.
Stand up and fucking wham! Like, it would be sick.
Yeah.
In the mud, you'd fucking roost.
But wouldn't it overheat in like 5 fucking minutes?
Okay, so when you put wheels on it right in the summer, you got to get a little radiator.
I was going to say, right?
Bike, and you put a fan and a radio under the hood.
Okay.
I've
I was
seen
going to
it.
say, because it seemed like it would just fucking boil up and...
No, you got to put a little rad on it.
All right.
Or just take it out for splurts. You know what I mean?
Just for
Is that different than a bobble?
Do a little blapper here, a little blapper there.
That's a brapper.
That's a that is a brapper. That one's a brapper. But you can't, people don't realize that the snowmobile in warm weather does not have a long life expectancy. No, they're not built. They're not built for the heat.
I mean, it's okay if you ride them on a lake. You know what I mean? Like the guys,
right.
because the water's
because the water's right there.
Shit,
yeah, right.
Yeah, but it could be mud cooled. I mean,
oh, dude, you can put the skis back on if it gets too muddy.
yeah, or just be an asshole and just ride it with the skis.
I just typed
in the middle of summer all around Mid Ohio. You just turn the wheel. It doesn't turn. Eventually, it turns a little bit.
I typed in AMA Vintage Days snowmobile, and my motorcycle came up. What the fuck is
That's
up
the
with
one that you
that?
set on fire when you were giving it away.
Well, that was part of the charm.
Yeah.
I was like, why the fuck is it that I type in AMA Vintage Days snowmobile and then a picture of my own motorcycle shows up? That's fucking weird, man. That's not normal. Okay. But anyway, that's a thing. So anyway, I'm glad we had this chat.
Yeah.
I'm glad it really gave us an opportunity to discuss life and the decisions we've made, and things of that nature. Here's Meckelfresh. I just pulled up a picture of Meckelfresh. He's set, and this is it. He's the guy in the yellow sled right there. Yes. That's it. That's
no, but
perfect.
look at the red sled down there. Actually, looks like his face.
Oh.
It's even grumpy.
I'm gonna cast that. I'm gonna throw that up. Yeah, so our listeners can see that because that's pretty fucking good. It does look. It does.
John had his mustache, dude.
That looks a lot like Meckelfresh. Oh, you are the Snowcraft Power Sled. I will call you Johnny Mac.
So cute. I like that.
Look at his face. That sled is just happy to be there. That sled doesn't care. That sled doesn't care what happens this weekend.
Hey guys, you want to go for a ride?
Hey,
Who wants to go for a ride?
hey, who wants to put down their beers and just go for a quick ride? Let's just go for a quick ride. That sled does look a lot like John Meckelfresh. It's crazy how much that sled.
I just got kind of sunburnt today too, so it kind of works out.
The red works out for you. Yeah.
It's Scottish, the other red man. Oh
If
man.
that was Meckelfresh, you'd hit the start button and go clean my carbs.
Real quick, can you clean my car?
Quick, just clean my carbs real quick.
Just blap
Clean
them.
my, just clean my
blab 'em.
carbs. Just clean my carbs real quick. That sled does look a lot like Johnny Mac. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. Oh man, that's so funny.
It needs a hat.
It's a ball cap.
A little ball cap.
But the brim's up. That's the windshield.
Oh my god! You know what? It is kind of perfect. It's just kind of perfect. It does look.
God.
I do like and also what's funny too is I didn't realize just till now, but I think the fuel filler is where the nose is. So I think right between his eyeballs is the fuel filler. This is cute as an adorable sled.
It'd be more realistic if it just fucking went into his mouth.
Hey guys.
You guys want to top me off?
Hey guys, want to go for a ride?
Top me off.
That is funny. That sled does look just like you. That's pretty great. I like that. We found Johnny McElfresh's spirit
I
sled.
think my exhaust is plugged. Can you check and see if you can make a little room in there?
That's fucking brilliant. Cool. Anybody else got anything else?
No.
All right, that's it.
I'd like to say one thing.
Oh, go ahead, John.
Great podcast, Tom.
Yeah, great podcast.
Yeah.
Great fucking podcast all around. This is, you know what? The basement, the food, the ambiance. By the way, the pole is now black. In case you didn't see the pole, mission accomplished.
And also, once again, thank you to all of our Patreon.
Yes,
all our
thanks.
listeners out there.
Absolutely right. This is a lot of fun.
Remember, you pay a little extra, you get the jokes.
That's you get the punchlines. We'll include the punchlines at the $10 level. All right, with that, remember, folks, ride fast and take chances. Bum, 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 bum.